Chapter 42-95. On the battlefield, it was inevitable for both sides to exchange harsh words. Often, after a war of words, both sides would send out their troops to fight. Zi Chen said ruthlessly, but in MOD's eyes, it was complete nonsense. The people he led were on a completely different level compared to the spirit race. Therefore, MOD was too lazy to talk nonsense. He waved his hand and said, "Kill!" He had not thought of a way to kill Zichen yet, so the two sides fought first. He could think of a way as he fought. The demon race army moved forward. Billowing demon chi filled the void, and the powerful pressure made people feel suffocated. Zi Chen did not move, and neither did the people behind him. At this moment, everyone was very nervous. Even after Zi Chen's enlightenment, they could not calm down when they truly felt the demon race's aura. After all, the next battle was a life and death battle. Zi Chen's body flashed, and a sacred rune brush appeared. It was mysterious and unfathomable. He had not used it for a long time. Now, in order to raise morale, he had to attack first. The demon race at the front began to accelerate, and all kinds of strange phenomena appeared around them. Zi Chen placed the brush in the void and gently drew a line. Light bloomed from the tip of the brush, and a dazzling line appeared in the void. It was like a boundary between heaven and earth, separating heaven and earth. Heaven and earth brush. When the demon race at the front encountered the extending line, the demon chi around them immediately dissipated. Their bodies were divided into two, and their souls were immediately destroyed. In an instant, hundreds of demon race soldiers died. Although this number was not worth mentioning for the demon race army of more than 100,000, it was enough to raise morale. Behind Zi Chen, a murderous aura surged. Everyone's eyes became firm and cold again. Murderous intent rose from their hearts. "Kill!" Zi Chen shouted and charged forward. "Take the lead!" In an instant, hundreds of attacks appeared in the sky, heading straight for Zi Chen. In front of Zi Chen, the light Dunley rose like a wall, attracting the attacks. He kept moving forward. The army behind him followed, closely behind. Powerful existences, like Luo Qishui, followed, closely behind Zi Chen. In the blink of an eye, Zi Chen rushed into the midst of the demons. His powerful killing intent erupted, and he did not hold back at all. Luo Qishui and the others also arrived. The hundreds of thousands of soldiers behind them, after suffering some losses, also clashed with the devil army. Then the entire battlefield was expanded infinitely, turning into a single battlefield. The 5 commanders all stood at the back. Looking at Zi Chen, who was leading the charge, MOD coldly laughed. His battle strength doesn't seem weak, but the soldiers he brought are too weak. Lu Zhen nodded and said, "You're right, sir. This is a cruel war. So what if one's combat strength is very strong? If the battle continues like this, Zi Chen will be hacked to death without even needing to use a powerful trump card." MOD turned around and looked at Lu Zhen, who was standing behind him tactfully. "You have done well this time. When we go back, we will speak up for you. However, it is still impossible for you to obtain the MO surname unless you can become a holy sovereign, or if a holy sovereign appears in your family. This was the rule, and it would not change." "Thank you, sir." Lu Zhen said, "I also know that it is unlikely, but living in this world, there should always be a wish." MOD said, "It is good to have a wish, but what you said before is wrong. It is not impossible. It is simply impossible." MOD thought of the rumor and said, "Unless you are willing to give up your surname." "Well, I remember there is a saying called marrying into the family. In this way, your wish should be fulfilled." When the other 3 commanders heard this, there was a smile in their eyes. Why could this guy named Lu Zhen come here as the vanguard? Just because he had many battle merits? Bullshit. In the devil army, which commander did not have many battle merits? It was just that they had some unspeakable secrets. Everyone who came here had an absolute relationship. It was just that Lu Zhen was different from them. They had a true family relationship, while Lu Zhen had sold her own dignity. This was another reason why they looked down on Lu Zhen in addition to not having the Mo surname. On the battlefield, everything continued, but the scale was much larger than usual. The smile on Mod's face suddenly changed. Somewhere in the battlefield ahead, several holy talisman lights suddenly lit up, and then several 5-star devil army were killed. Life and death was a very normal thing. Logically speaking, it should not be strange. But Mod discovered that in a few nearby directions, the light of holy talisman appeared again, and then more holy spirits died. Damn it, it's those holy talisman masters. They are actually gathered in one place. Mod's face was angry. Those hundreds of holy talisman masters occupied an area by themselves. They were only fighting in this area, and outside this area, there were constantly weak spirit race people, luring the powerful devil army over and then being killed by them. And looking at other places, the battlefield was completely divided. In some places, dozens of spirit race people were besieging a devil army of the same realm, equivalent to 1 against dozens. The devil army was very strong, but 1 against dozens at the same time. How could they win? Moreover, among these dozens of spirit race people, there were many who were not strong, but were insidious. In just a moment, this devil army member was exhausted to death. Mod's gaze turned again, looking to the other side, and he was even more anxious. There were actually 5-star holy spirits working together to deal with one of his 4-star subordinates. Where was their shame? It was originally a battle of numbers, but now they were actually working together to fight one of lower realms. So the other side died even faster. Where are they? Where are our people? Mod was furious. The devil army had higher realms, so how could they be in such a passive situation? Then he saw an 8-star devil army member charging in that direction. As long as he approached, those 5-star spirit race people would definitely die. But who knew that at this moment, the 5 of them would quickly retreat, no longer fighting. The 8-star devil army member did not give up and followed closely. A powerful energy shockwave suddenly appeared from the side and sent the 8-star saint spirit flying. Before he could stabilize his body, a beam of sword light flew from afar and pierced his heart. Those 5-star holy spirits did not care about this at all and went to find the next weakling. The other commanders also saw the changes on the battlefield, and they were all stunned. Lu Zhen said, "This kind of fighting is too wretched. This is the shameless spirit race. Their battle strength is not as good as ours, so they can only play these little tricks." At this moment, they were all suppressing those of lower realms. Even Luo Qishui was dealing with the 8-star devils, because they were easy to kill. As for those of higher realms, they were left to Zichen, Rinzheng, and the elusive ghost. An army of more than 100,000 devil army could indeed exhaust Zichen to death. But Zichen did not directly come into contact with the army, and he only killed the 9-star devils. With his battle strength, he could still wipe out all the 9-star devils. Go to hell. All of you go to hell. Chapter 40-96. The moment the wand appeared, a terrifying aura of oppression appeared. The glowing wand had once repelled several Saint Venerables. Han Jun had stayed in the Monarch region because he was afraid of this item. But now he had distributed his power to everyone and was unable to fight anymore. He could only watch the wand show its power. The magic wand stood in the void. As Mod moved, a large amount of brilliance flew down from above. This brilliance was very terrifying. Once swept by it, death was certain. And looking at the current situation, the wand's power was much stronger than Zichen's. Seeing that the spirit clan was about to be wiped out, and there were even a few demons among them, a scroll appeared out of thin air and blocked the light. It was the Demon God scroll. Zichen's hall was in the Tianwu continent, guarding the Thunder region, so that the Tianwu continent had an endless supply of energy. The Hall of Souls was in the Thunder Spirit Plane, and it was also the core. The only thing that Zi Chen could bring with him was the demonic god painting. The scroll blocked the wand, creating a powerful energy wave that sent the nearby spirit clan and demons flying. Seeing this, MOD smiled faintly. As expected, but you don't deserve to have this scroll. He turned around and glanced behind him, only to see another commander walking over. There was an item in his hand. It was a black-colored devil seal, and he was moving forward. This was the first time the demon seal had appeared in the world, and it cooperated with the wand to fight against the scroll. This is our trump card. Originally, it was to guard against the Saint Venerables of your world. I didn't expect them to be so useless, running away after a fight. Some ran away without a fight, so only one has appeared. MOD said proudly, "Now what else do you have?" Zi Chen stood in the void and said indifferently, "I still have my own battle strength." At this moment, Luo Qishui was quickly dodging behind. Several 9-star demons were attacking him together. He completely ignored Zi Chen's difficult situation and led the others in this direction. MOD and the other commander saw it, but they did not step forward to stop it. Now that Zi Chen's painting had been blocked, he only had 9 stars left. As long as he expended more energy, he would definitely die. Right at this moment, Zi Chen reached out and tapped the space between his eyebrows. In the next moment, a beam of soul power flew out. This soul power was like a bolt of purple lightning, and it split into several streaks that shot toward the 9-star devilish beings that were tailing Luo Qishui. In the next instant, all of these 9-star demons collapsed. He was dead. This was Zi Chen's current soul power, the incomplete purple soul. Zi Chen's soul power hadn't been depleted in the slightest after killing several 9-star demons with a single strike. He was still standing there, and his aura was still incomparably powerful. MOD was shocked. This kind of battle prowess was somewhat terrifying. When the others saw this, they followed suit and lured the experts they couldn't handle to Zi Chen. Zi Chen stood where he was. He did not refuse anyone who was willing to take the bait. Those who took the bait all died. Zi Chen was like a machine with plenty of energy. He never knew what fatigue was. If one came, he would kill one. If 2 came, he would kill a pair. If a group came, he would kill them all. Similar incidents were happening in other places. Once there was a difficult opponent, they would lure them to the side of other powerhouses. Otherwise, they would directly give up and find a soft persimmon to bully. Originally, they would have been defeated in 1 strike, but after using this method, they were able to forcibly block the Devil Race's army. Han Jun stood in the sovereign domain and sighed with emotion. A single person could change the situation of the battle. This was something he couldn't imagine before. If there were more Zi Chen in this world, or more people like Zi Chen, why would they have to worry about the divine race and the demon race? No matter how many came, they would be able to kill as many as they came. After all, in terms of numbers, the spirit realm had hundreds of times more people than them. Lu Zhen still stood at the back. It had to be said that this kind of wretched fighting method allowed those spirit race people to survive. This was clearly Zi Chen's idea. However, to complete this kind of cooperation, they needed a powerhouse like Zi Chen. The commander-level battle had not started yet, but Lu Zhen already saw the outcome. MOD, who had always been conceited, still did not make a move as he watched his subordinates die one after another. This proved that his confidence was not that sufficient. Coupled with the 2 great methods of the magic staff and demonic seal, they were actually unable to suppress the picture scroll. This made them even more fearful. Zi Chen killed another 2 powerhouses that were lured over. Then he hooked his hand at MOD in the distance and said in a clear voice, "As the leader, you guys are just going to watch me kill like this." MOD snorted coldly and said, "I'll just stand here without moving. In the end, the ones who die will still be you guys." This sentence was not false. The battle had continued until now. Both sides had been dying. In terms of overall combat strength, the demon race was still stronger. Therefore, as long as the battle continued indefinitely, the final victor might be the demon race, but it would definitely be a Pyrrhic victory. In the end, not many people would survive, and the hundreds of thousands of people on Zichen's side would have to be handed over here. During this period, they also had to consider the issue of morale. Zichen laughed when he heard that and said, "Is that so? Just nice. Everything is also to my liking. Let's see who dies out first between our two sides." Zichen's figure flashed, going from motionless to taking the initiative to attack. It was to find loopholes and fill in the gaps. Where the people were almost unable to hold on, he would go up to help or provide long-range assistance. MOD said in a cold voice, "Then it'll definitely be you guys who die out first, because our reinforcements will be arriving right away." At present, the demon race had an army of more than 100,000. The losses had just exceeded 10,000, and they actually started talking about reinforcements. This time, Zichen did not respond because there was no meaning. Those few commanders did not fight at the rear, while Zichen was somewhat passive. But he believed that those demons would not be able to hold on for too long, because right at this time the door to the Venerable region opened, and a batch of reinforcements came. At the same time, some flying ships appeared in their field of vision. They were people who had rushed over from other places and joined the battlefield. Looking at this scene, Lu Jin said, "If we continue to delay, the battle will be very disadvantageous to us. Because this is the spiritual realm, they have countless reinforcements. Previously, they had killed all the way, and the spirit race had run all the way. Wherever they went, they would kill. There was almost no threatening resistance. But this time was different. Under Zichen's leadership, the spirit race did not run away. So naturally, there were more reinforcements. Join forces to kill him." A fierce light flashed in MOD's eyes. If this continued, perhaps the situation would really be disadvantageous to them. He immediately flew high into the sky and shouted, "Zichen, die for me!" The demonic power around him turned into a demonic snake. The demonic snake's body was close to 10,000 feet long. It spat out its tongue and charged toward Zichen. "You're finally going to make a move?" A smile appeared on the corner of Zichen's mouth. After he finished off his opponent with a punch, he faced the demonic snake. A punch landed. The dazzling lightning was like a sun, illuminating the void world. A rumble sounded. Chapter 4297. The flying demonic snake did not disperse. It stared coldly at Zichen and spoke in human language. "You dare to call yourself number one in the spiritual realm with such combat strength?" When the other 4 commanders saw this, they followed suit and each transformed into a demonic snake. This was the unique divine ability of the demonic snake guard, and its power was unparalleled. The 5 demonic snakes stared at Zichen with murderous intent surging in their eyes. In the next moment, the 5 demonic snakes each displayed their divine ability. It was as if 5 black holes were opening, trying to devour Zichen. Feeling the tearing force, Zichen smiled and disappeared into thin air. He came in front of a demonic snake and punched it in the head. Boom! The demonic snake was sent flying. A whistling sound came from behind. It was ice thorns that looked like flying swords. Zichen's figure flashed again, dodging the ice thorns. He came in front of the second demonic snake and punched it again. The devouring force from the space and the strange pressure formed by the 5 demonic snakes had no effect on Zichen. He walked as if he was walking on flat ground. He then flew up and punched one of them. The 5 demonic snakes were beaten back. On the spiritual realm side, cheers shook the sky. The 5 commanders were unable to gain the upper hand against Zichen, which showed how powerful Zichen was. As for the demons, their morale was affected. The demonic serpents in the sky hadn't disappeared and were still attacking. However, all of their attacks were neutralized by Zichen. Furthermore, Zi-Chen's attacks caused the 5 of them to continuously retreat, their bodies unsteady. Every time the 5 commanders fell back, it was a blow to the demons' morale. Han Jun didn't understand. He understood Zi-Chen. Zi-Chen's combat strength was extraordinarily strong. If it was said that Zi-Chen didn't immediately kill them because there were too many demons, then why didn't Zi-Chen use a thunderous method to kill them all now that the 5 commanders had gathered? Although the demons' morale was constantly falling, how could it be more shocking than being killed in an instant? Zi-Chen was obviously stalling for time. Why? After all, the picture scroll was still being restrained by the 2 demon weapons in the sky. If this continued, the picture scroll would definitely be the one to be defeated. What was going on? Just as Sacred Venerate Han Jun was feeling puzzled, Zi-Chen suddenly exerted his strength and punched the head of a demonic snake. The huge body of the demonic snake exploded as it flew backward. Commander Lu Zhen's figure appeared. His face turned pale, and he coughed up blood as he flew backwards. He was wounded. Then, Zi-Chen's figure flickered again, and his second punch scattered another demonic snake. Then, with the third punch, the demonic snake that MOD had transformed into was also destroyed. The fourth punch. On the fifth punch, Zi-Chen gathered even more power on his fist. When he destroyed the demonic snake, he also killed the 9-star commander. One of the 5 commanders had died. When the other 4 commanders saw this, their expressions changed drastically. Now I'll send you on your way. In Zi-Chen's eyes, there was a cold, murderous intent. The long spear that he had never used before appeared in his hand. Die. In an instant, Zi-Chen approached. He thrust his spear forward, and a powerful force surged on the long spear. The eyes of this commander, who had been targeted, were filled with horror. The instant the long spear arrived, he felt the threat of death looming over him. A demonic saber appeared in his hand. The saber was completely black, and he held it horizontally in front of him. At the same time, he activated the black robe on his body, forming a defense. Facing Zi-Chen's spear, this was the only thing he could do. Crack! The long spear pressed forward, and the demonic saber was instantly split in half. Then, the long spear pierced through the demonic robe and the 9-star demon's body. The soul power hidden in the long spear instantly destroyed the opponent's soul. The second commander of the demon clan died. Then, Zi-Chen looked at MOD. Go quickly! At this moment, Lu Zhen shouted. A demon orb appeared in front of him. The demon orb immediately enlarged and turned into a thick mountain peak. The mountain peak was surrounded by demonic aura. The aura was terrifying, and there was a faint pressure of a sacred venerate. Lu Zhen moved his hand seal, and the mountain peak with a trace of sacred venerate aura crashed toward Zi-Chen. Zi-Chen shook the long spear in his hand and thrust forward again. With a boom, the mountain peak exploded. As for the 3 commanders, they had already fled far away. If they did not run, they would die. Die! Zi-Chen shouted angrily and chased after them. At this moment, the demonic staff and the demonic seal suddenly flew back and attacked Zi-Chen. These 2 things, even a sacred venerate had to retreat, let alone him. Zi-Chen did not chase after them, and the scroll flew forward. The 2 demonic weapons that could threaten a sacred venerate turned into streams of light and flew away. The commander of the demon clan has fled. Kill him without mercy. On the battlefield, the spirit clan people roared. Then more roars could be heard. Even the leader had fled, and the demon clan people no longer had the courage to fight, so they retreated one by one. However, there were still some who resisted. After all, their combat power was far superior to the spirit clan. Zi-Chen originally wanted to use the scroll, but after thinking about it, he dismissed the idea. He flashed forward and began to kill the enemies. All those who resisted were no match for Zi-Chen, so they died one by one. The rebels stopped resisting, and everyone began to flee. Chase! Zi-Chen looked at the demons that were beginning to flee and gave the order. Everyone chased after them and began to kill in the pursuit. This was the effect that Zichen wanted. During this time, those who were in charge of calculating merits took out crystal balls to record this scene. Next, Zichen wanted to tell the world that the demon clan was not as powerful as they thought. They could still die, they could still be afraid, and they could still be slaughtered by the spirit clan. If he wanted to win this battle, Zichen had many ways to do so. He could even single-handedly annihilate this army. However, in the battle of a world, the combat power of an individual would always be insignificant. He could change the situation of a region, but he could not change the situation of a world. In order to completely change all this and turn the situation around, all the Spirit Clan people had to unite. With confidence, the Spirit Clan people who had the advantage in numbers would be able to chase away the God Clan and the Demon Clan. Zichen was confident. However, this was destined to not be an easy path to take. Zichen also chased after them. During this time, he was still checking and patching up the gaps. He rarely made a move. The Spirit Clan people were crazy with killing, and they were shouting and yelling excitedly. Even some of the reserve troops, who were originally in the Supreme region, ran out and began to chase after the Demon Clan people. The pursuit continued, and the news spread out in a very short time, causing an uproar once again. Chapter 42-98. The Holy Thunder Clan was one of the few major powers in the Saint Spirit realm. Even though the world had changed, their intelligence network was still perfect. The news of that battle quickly spread back, and, as expected, it attracted some mockery and ridicule. There were still many people who couldn't bear to see Zichen doing well, and even more, they couldn't bear to see Zichen win. When the news reached the Thunder Protector Department, the old man smiled. That's really something. Beside the old man stood a man. After hesitating, the man said, "Sir, there have been a lot of rumors about the Thunder Protector Department." The old man asked, "What rumors?" "They say that the Thunder Protector Department sent troops without orders. They want to curry favor with Zichen," the man said. The old man laughed. "They want to curry favor, but they still have to see if Zichen is willing to accept them. Don't worry about them. Take another 3,000 people and go support Zichen." "What?" The man was stunned. "We still have to send people. Is that appropriate?" The old man sighed. "You guys are all short-sighted and can't see far ahead. Now that we send people, there will only be benefits and no harm." The man didn't understand. "Do we really have to curry favor with Zichen? Even if Zichen becomes the leader of the Holy Thunder Clan in the future, the Thunder Protector Department is an independent department. Why should we do that?" The old man said patiently, "Do you still remember what Zichen promised when he left?" The man naturally knew. Zichen promised a lot of rewards. The battle has been going on for so long. I guess he's regretting it. The old man said, "Of course he's regretting it, but it's impossible for him to regret it. Right now, the Thunder Protector Department only needs to send some people. We don't need to spend money. We can even earn money outside, which can be considered as saving some expenses for the Thunder Protector Department. If we had delayed, not only would we have to send people, but we would also have to fork out extra money." "How is that possible?" The man didn't understand. "This war was initiated by Zichen. What does it have to do with us? You'll find out soon. Zichen isn't as stupid as you think, but he's sincere in wanting to do something for the spirit realm. However, this is indeed the case. Only truly intelligent people can save the spirit realm." The battle was still going on, and so was the pursuit. The demons fled from one world to another. More and more people were chasing after him, and they were all from various venerable regions. Some came for the reward of resources, some came for the passion, and some came for revenge. No matter what the reason was, more and more people came. Zichen's promise hadn't changed. He was still giving out rewards to everyone. On this day, Grace came to Zichen and said directly, "We don't have enough resources. If this continues, we won't be able to hold on for long." Zichen nodded. After winning the first battle and recruiting hundreds of thousands of people, he had made a decision. Grace left. Since Zichen already knew about it, it was time for her to do her own things. The next moment, Zichen disappeared from the room. He returned to the Tianwu continent and found Lina. He said, "The rent of the Tianwu world and the Thunder Spirit world will be doubled from now on." Lina knew the situation on Zichen's side. As long as the battle started, there would be an endless supply of resources. She didn't ask if this was appropriate and nodded in agreement. Zichen's idea was very simple. Since they weren't going to fight, it was necessary to pay some money. As soon as the news came out, there were naturally voices of opposition. However, the opposition was ineffective. Everyone only had two choices. They could either increase the price or leave. However, after hearing the news, more people began to clap their hands and cheer. Zichen was fighting on the front lines and was consuming their own resources. Under such circumstances, it was normal for him to increase the price. Otherwise, where would the money come from? After all, many people were considering going over. It was better for Zichen to increase the price here than to deduct their battle merits in the future. However, everyone was also worried. This kind of action was like killing the goose that laid the golden eggs. For the huge battlefield, it was completely inadequate. They wouldn't be able to last long. After all, the number of Zichen's army was increasing. It was said that it had exceeded 600,000 and was still increasing. In fact, Zichen only managed to maintain the new batch of resources for half a month before he was stretched to the limit. Zichen went back again. This time he didn't look for Lina. Instead, he went to the inner city to look for the city lord. Zichen immediately said when he saw the city lord, "I don't have enough resources. The war can't continue. Do you have any good suggestions?" The city lord was in a difficult position. He knew about Zichen's recent deeds and was happy for Zichen. However, when he saw Zichen in person, he felt a headache. Zichen said, "If you don't have the final say, then I'll go find someone who does. Or should I go find Lejinka?" The city lord's expression suddenly changed. Directly calling Lejinka's name was a great disrespect. Zichen continued, "I think that we have to have some face in this world. Right now, there are rumors outside that the good resources have been taken away by the major forces. They always think of themselves as the dominant forces, but when the crisis comes, they actually hide." The city lord's expression began to change. After a while, he asked, "What do you want?" Zichen said, "1 head and 10 times the reward. You guys are in charge of purchasing." The city lord said, "Are you crazy? 10 times. Isn't your side only 5 times? You're different from me. I'm poor, but you're rich. How can we be the same?" Zichen looked at the city lord's ugly expression and said, "Don't put on a bitter face. You won't lose much because there are still many spoils of war that need to be refined. I don't have that many people, so I naturally have to give them all to you." "Let me think about it," the city lord said. Zichen stood up. "You should ask Lejinka if he's willing. I'll wait for your news." With that, Zichen left the inner city and returned to the Sky Martial continent. But he didn't stop. He used the Spirit Core again and went to the next area, Sacred Moon Clan. Zichen's sudden appearance in the Sacred Moon Clan shocked many people. Even the guards suspected that this was fake, because everyone knew that Zichen was on the battlefield. "I want to see the Moon Lord." Zichen stated his purpose for coming. No one knew what Zichen's purpose was, but some people had their own guesses, so they were in a difficult position. "Moon Lord, you must know that I'm here. I wonder if you can show yourself?" Zichen said as he looked at the sky. The others' expressions changed. How could this be? To directly alarm the Moon Lord. What kind of scandal was this? A passage appeared in front of him, and Zichen walked in. The Moon Lord had specially gone to the Sky Martial continent to look for him, so Zichen and the Moon Lord were quite familiar. This was also the reason why he came to look for the Moon Lord first. Tell me your purpose for coming. I have a lot of demon heads here. I hope that the Sacred Moon Clan can buy them at 10 times the price. Do you think that's possible? It's still possible. Because of the great calamity, all the major forces are working hard to develop themselves. Since they don't contribute, what's the point of paying a little money? Chapter 40, 299. The Holy Spirit world had the Holy Clan, but what did the Holy Clan have? They had resources, countless resources. They had experts, countless experts. They had all kinds of cultivation treasures and secret places. They had developed for many years and occupied the most resources in the spiritual world. Their foundation was immeasurably deep. So Zichen, who had no money to fight, came to ask these big forces for money. Didn't you say you didn't contribute? Then you can pay, right? Don't you cherish your lives? You don't have to go to the battlefield. Just pay me. The two sides only exchanged a few words, but everything was clear. The world was in chaos. The big forces could watch the show and conserve their energy, but please take out some money. We will fight the war. You just need to pay. We will die ourselves. You just need to pay. You just need money. Everyone outside said that you are so poor that you are crazy. Now it seems that it is true. The Moon Master, whose face could not be seen clearly, said, "Compared with the giants like the Holy Moon Clan, of course I am poor." Zichen said with a smile, "Actually, I came here this time to raise the price to 15 times because when I came just now, the Holy Thunder Clan had already agreed to pay me 10 times the price. But thinking that you are still cultivating here, I have to give them some face. So I will still pay the original price." Holy Thunder Clan? You use this word to describe your clan? The Moon Master laughed. Zichen sighed and said, "I can't help it. I, Zichen, am a person who cares about face. For so many years I have been a leader. When I was robbing resources, I was so righteous. Now that danger is coming, I don't care. I am ashamed to be in the same clan as such. Why don't you think of a way to let me leave the Holy Thunder Clan and join the Holy Moon Clan? Of course, the premise is that you don't dislike me." The Moon Master took a deep look at Zichen. "Okay, 10 times the price. Our Moon Clan agrees." Zichen praised. "Moon Master is so straightforward. I believe that once the news spreads, everyone will praise the Moon Clan." The Moon Master waved her hand gently and said, "Our Moon Clan will not suffer this loss. Don't try to cheat one clan. Don't worry, Moon Master. I'll go to the next one now." Before leaving, Zichen took out a portion of the heads. Perhaps it was because the Moon Master was kind, but Zichen did not leave behind many. However, this so-called not many referred to the overall number. Those in charge of counting the spoils were also quite shocked when they saw so many heads and spoils of war. Seeing Zichen leave, a look of admiration appeared on the Moon Master's face. "Although I don't know how you were back then, I don't think anyone in this world can do better than you." After that, Zichen's family went to the Spirit Core once. Because they had a Spirit Core, they could go and come back quickly. As long as he thought that it was a big power, his family would not be free. The spoils he brought this time were constantly decreasing. The last portion was given to the Holy Thunder Clan. They had no choice but to agree. He bought these spoils of war at 5 times the price, but sold them at 10 times the price. It seemed that Zichen had made a profit of half of it, but in fact he barely made a loss. This was because there was still the reward for the people in the Lightning Imperial Department, as well as the compensation for the families of those who died in battle. In this kind of matter, Zichen would not allow the slightest mistake. This kind of business was also the first time. The major powers were not stupid. They would not let Zichen earn a good reputation for nothing. After all, other than money, they would continue to pay in the future. Moreover, this was not what Zichen wanted. After all, he could only manage a small area and could not control the entire spiritual realm. Since the major powers had accepted this price, they would replace Zichen and become the initiators of the war. The only difference was that Zichen was leading the troops, while they stood behind the scenes. However, they had enough resources. Sure enough, not long after, the major sacred clans issued a bounty for the heads of the demon clan. The price was 1 to 7. It was slightly higher than Zichen's price. When this news came out, it caused quite a stir. This was the major powers taking action. Even if it was just offering money, it was still better than inaction before. The only difference was that the major powers only cared about the money and the rewards. They did not care about anything else. For example, if one died on the battlefield, they could still receive compensation from Zichen. However, the major powers did not have such compensation. In short, this was a good start. It proved that they had made a difference. Now that the demon clan was invading, normal life was difficult to maintain. They could only fight to obtain resources. Thus, one existence after another joined the battlefield and began to fight against the gods and demons. When there were more people, there would naturally be a scale. Thus, one army after another appeared. There were also some powerful loners who called themselves demon hunters or god hunters. They specialized in assassinating the demon clan. The Saint Spirit realm, which had been constantly fleeing and had no fighting power, slowly became active. From fear to resistance, they even took the initiative to attack in the end. The spirit realm's counterattack began. The real war had begun. All of this originated from Zichen. Whether or not anyone acknowledged this, Zichen, who was treated as a fool by everyone in the future, would be remembered in history. If Zichen had not stood up in time, the spirit realm would have been defeated again and again. From fleeing to initiating a counterattack, Zichen had not only consumed resources, but also fought 2 battles, one big and one small. Zichen is truly worthy of being the reincarnation of a sacred venerate. He was the leader of the spirit realm many years ago. Many years later, even if he is not a sacred venerate, he is still a leader. An old storyteller wearing a white robe changed the topic and said, "In just a short year, the spirit realm went from being defeated to counterattacking. Zichen's contributions cannot go unnoticed. If not for his leadership, the spirit realm would have been defeated. Perhaps before the enemy's sacred venerate appeared, the spirit realm would have fallen. The real war had begun. Whether it was the demon race or the god race, they were all stalled. Thus, the cities that had not fallen became lively again. The storytellers had jobs again and could tell stories in exchange for wine. Some people spoke the truth, while others spoke the truth. Actually, everyone was tricked by Zichen. Even the entire spirit realm was tricked by Zichen, a black-robed old storyteller said. A black-robed storyteller said, Zichen is far more cunning than the world thinks. These 2 wars were deliberately arranged by him. In the final war, more than 100,000 demons. How long did they chase them? A full half a year, but they still did not kill them all. They gave the world the false impression that the demons were weak. They thought that they had lost their will to fight and were running away. In fact, this was Zichen's scheme. However, the entire spirit realm fell for it and began to fight back. The black-robed old man's business was obviously not good, because ever since Zichen found the demons last time, all the storytellers who had blackened Zichen were slapped in the face. Most of them changed careers. After all, storytellers could talk about black and white with just their mouth. Only the black-robed old man in front of him still insisted on telling the other side of Zichen. Unfortunately, no one listened, because the current Zichen was the hero of the entire Saint Spirit realm. It was because of him that the Saint Spirit realm began to fight back against the demons. The black-robed old man shook his head and muttered, "Why doesn't anyone believe it? Zichen is indeed the hero of the entire spirit realm this time, but he is not as great as the world says. This time he did play a trick. Why can't you see it? It's not that we can't see it, but that we don't want to see it. Why do we have to distinguish between the truth and the lies so clearly? After saying that he would break it down next time, the white-robed old man walked over. Isn't it good now? The entire spirit realm is fighting. If this is a test of life and death for the spirit realm, then the spirit realm can be considered to have completed the test very well this time. Everyone is motivated. The following battles will naturally be much easier to fight. The white-robed old man glanced at the black-robed old man's shriveled bag. You didn't get anything today, did you? The black-robed old man said helplessly. Everyone wants to hear a heroic story of justice. Chapter 40, 300. Zi Chen looked at the sovereign domain in front of him, or rather at the planet in front of him. It used to be a saint domain, but after the world changed, it became a sovereign domain. The demons invaded, and the sovereign domain was destroyed, and the saint venerables left. The demons destroyed the planet in the sovereign domain, plundering all the resources, and then left this world behind. After half a year of pursuit, all the demons fled here and formed a new line of defense. There used to be more than 100,000 demons, but after being pursued all the way, only a third of them remained. It had to be said that the demons were indeed powerful. Even if they fled pathetically, they still could not kill all of them after half a year of pursuit. One had to know that his people were more than 10 times more than the demons. Now that the demons had retreated, they were going to fight to the death here. In other places, resistance continued to appear. Zi Qin had achieved his goal. Then there was no need to let these people live. A light of demonic power appeared in front of them, enveloping that world. This was a kind of protection comparable to a sovereign domain. The army surrounded this place, and some people tried to break through the layer of protection. But when their attacks landed on it, they could only cause ripples. They could not break through. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at Zi Qin, wondering if he had any ideas. Zi Qin had a lot of ways. He could use their own methods to deal with them, such as asking Saint Venerable Han Jun to come over and restrain this layer of power. But he did not. The demons were against the spirit race, and the demons' spirit race against the saint spirit race. The demons did not send out venerables, so they naturally did not use them. Zi Qin took out the scroll and unfolded it. The demon god scroll enlarged in the void like a painting of mountains and rivers. Countless black rays of light fell on the protection below. The protection began to shatter and disintegrate. Everyone be careful! This was the First World War to counterattack, so Zi Qin needed to remind everyone. After that, he would be the first to enter. No matter what, he would always be the first. The scroll was still in the sky, confronting the wand from a distance. Zi Qin entered through the gap, and as expected, a large number of attacks whistled toward him. A shield appeared in front of Zi Qin, blocking all the attacks. His body was slowly retreating under the impact. The others followed closely behind, entering in a single file and attacking the approaching demons. Then the situation got out of hand, and a chaotic battle broke out. After blocking these attacks, Zi Qin moved like a bolt of lightning and swept past the demons. As he moved further and further away, the demons fell one after another. Looking at the invading spirit race, MOD's face was extremely ugly. Their team belonged to the vanguard, the first team to come to this world. Their success or failure had an extraordinary significance to the demon race. In the beginning of the battle, they were invincible and invincible, but now they were actually running away, and they had been running for half a year. Not too long ago, he had thought that the spirit race had no future, because if they continued to run, they would lose their morale. It was like watching others roll a snowball when they were young. Once it started rolling, it would only get bigger and bigger. However, they did not expect Zi Qin to appear and turn the situation around, causing them to be the ones in a sorry state. Along the way, 2 of the 5 great commanders had already died. Currently, there were only 3 left. Lu Jin said, "If there is no other way, let's retreat. This is just a big training. As long as we are alive, there is still a future." What he said was true, but if they really went back like this, how could they face their colleagues? MOD shook his head and said, "It's impossible to go back. It's impossible." Everyone was dead. Even if they went back, would they be able to survive? "I'll stay. You guys go," Lu Zhen said again. The two commanders looked at Lu Zhen in surprise. They did not expect him to make such a request at this time. Since coming to the demon realm, Lu Zhen, as a commander of the same status as them, had been going along with them. During this period, he had only taken the initiative to speak up twice. The first time was when he led an army of 10,000 people to confront Ziqin, delaying them for half a month. That time was accompanied by great danger. The second time was now. He spoke up again, but this time not only was it dangerous, but they would also lose their lives. "It's useless for you to stay." MOD shook his head again. What he said was true because Lu Zhen's weight was not enough. Even if he went back and took all the blame, it would not be enough. Lu Zhen said in a firm tone, "I still have some life-saving means. If you leave first, I may not die in this battle. And don't forget, I'm also a commander. I have the absolute right to speak." At this time, MOD was very touched by Lu Zhen's attitude, but it was still useless. At this time, the commander next to him said, "I'll stay too." MOD, go. MOD looked at the person next to him in surprise. "What do you mean, Menes?" MOD, a person who is afraid of death? Menes said, "There is no one in the demon realm who is afraid of death. It's just that you are more useful to the future if you live. So you must live. You have to stay alive." Gonus emphasized again, "You have to live. For yourself and for the future of the demon realm." Lu Zhen also nodded and said, "Yes, the demon realm needs you." MOD no longer refused. He nodded and then hugged Menes. "Brother, I'm counting on you." Then he looked at Lu Zhen and cupped his fists. "Thank you. Go. Leave the rest to me." MOD waved his hand and collected the wand in the sky. In the next moment, the wand arrived in front of him and disappeared with him. MOD left. Out of the 5 commanders, 2 were dead, 1 had left, and 2 were left. The battle was still going on, but because the wand was no longer there, the protection was no longer there. This world was no longer an obstacle for the spirit realm. The astrals all rushed in. At the same time, the demon god painting would fall. At that time, the demon realm would be in an even more difficult situation. Lu Zhen looked at Menes and said, "Sir, if we use the demon seal now, we can still hold on for a while." Menes did not say anything. Instead, he looked at the battlefield. His expression gradually became serious, and there was grief, anger, and pain. Lu Zhen looked at the commander quietly and said, "Sir, if we use the demon seal now, we can still hold on for a while. Our brothers can also kill more astrals." Menes nodded, and all of his grief disappeared in the next moment. He turned around, looked at Lu Zhen, and said, "Then I'll have to trouble you." With that, he took out the demon seal and activated it. Then his figure disappeared. Gone. Lu Zhen was slightly stunned and did not seem to react. He looked around and saw that there was indeed no one left. He then looked into the distance and saw that the battle was still going on. The astrals had shown an absolute advantage in numbers, so the demon realm had suffered a lot of casualties. The commander had left. He did not leave. Chapter 4301. The battle continued. As the number of spirit race soldiers increased, the number of deaths continued to increase. Lu Zhen didn't make a move. He just stood there. He released his aura so that all the demons could clearly sense his existence. This was a symbol. Even if they were going to die, he wanted them to die with dignity and generosity. "Brothers, although we don't know each other, I'm sorry," Lu Zhen muttered in a low voice. He knew that everyone would die here today, and he was still standing there. In addition to being a symbol for everyone, he was also watching everyone die. Ziqin was also fighting and dealing with some troubles, but after entering, his soul power enveloped the surroundings. He saw what happened between the three commanders. They probably thought that he couldn't see it. Zichen's figure descended from the sky and landed in front of Lu Zhen. Lu Zhen looked at Zichen. The symbolic aura that he had released was dissipating bit by bit. Seeing that you're still holding on, I'll give you a dignified death. Zichen said, May I ask, how do you want to die? Lu Zhen's eyes were full of murderous intent. I want to kill you first, before dying. He rushed toward Zichen. He was so close that he was like a shooting star with sparks and lightning. His power was extremely terrifying. Zichen's expression was calm. He slowly stretched out his hand. Lightning surged in his palm and suddenly exploded. With a loud bang, Lu Zhen was sent flying. He fell not far away. After landing, his body didn't move. Such a scene alarmed everyone. Or it could be said that this was deliberately done by Zichen. With the death of the last commander, the demons' morale was gone. But this time, they had no way to escape. So even if they were in despair, they had to fight to the death. Under such circumstances, the demons erupted with unimaginable combat power, causing the spirit race to suffer great losses. But this was a story for later. Zichen stood in place. He didn't look at Lu Zhen again. He looked forward and his gaze began to move. There was a light in his eyes. It was the demon god's eye. Previously, he had sensed Mod's departure. However, when the second person left, he did not sense anything at all. Therefore, he guessed that the other party might not have left and had been hiding in the surroundings all along. Zichen didn't know why he was hiding here, but he had to find this guy. Soon, he made a discovery, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He walked forward, and layers of ripples surged out from his body. The space was constantly attacked, and gradually a barrier appeared. Zichen extended his palm again and placed it on the barrier. In the next moment, the barrier melted like an ice crystal, revealing a black hole. The black hole expanded until one person could enter. Zichen stepped in, and the black hole behind him closed up again. How is this possible? How did you get in? When many saw Zichen walking in, his face was filled with shock. This defense was the protection of a demonic seal, and it was comparable to a holy venerate. Moreover, it was pure demonic energy, and ordinary people would not be able to discover it at all. However, not only had Zichen discovered it, but he had also entered so easily. How was this possible? Zichen looked ahead. Other than Menes, there were more than 300 people here. Each of them was a powerhouse, and they did not forget to bring them along when they were escaping. They should be Menes's elite private army. You're not a selfish person at all. At least you know how to protect your subordinates. Zichen sneered. Menes still could not believe it. How did you get in? Zichen said, You shouldn't be asking me how I got in. You should be asking me how I should deal with you. You're courting death. I have the demonic seal. What can you do to me? Menes's eyes turned cold. Since he had been discovered, it had become a fact. He was not afraid at all. Because he had the demonic seal, at least he could ensure his own survival. As for the others behind him, if he had to choose one to sacrifice, it would be them. You think you can protect yourself with it? A cold smile appeared at the corner of Zichen's mouth. Zichen, don't you go too far. The demonic seal floated above Menes's head, and its demonic light flickered. Behind him, everyone was ready for a fierce battle. Unfortunately, the fierce battle they wanted did not happen at all. Zichen waved his hand, and another spatial gate opened in front of them. A hint of joy appeared in Menes's eyes. In his opinion, Zichen knew that he was no match for the demonic seal and was about to leave. Then his expression changed again. Zichen had summoned something. He did not intend to leave. It was a small tree. It did not look very tall, but its roots were very strong and sturdy. It was like a horned dragon that took root in the void. Menes did not understand why Zichen would make such an inconspicuous tree at this time. Could it be that Zichen wanted to give him a gift or to form an alliance with him? He had never seen such a strange tree. Through its aura, it seemed to resonate with him, and his demonic power became active. Could it be a supreme treasure of the demons? Just as some distracting thoughts appeared in his mind, he saw the small tree take root in the void and begin to absorb energy. At the same time, he felt that the power in his body was no longer under his control and began to flow away. This discovery made his expression change drastically. He immediately controlled the demonic seal to protect himself, but it was useless. His power was still flowing away. At this time, cries of alarm came from behind. It was his subordinates who had also encountered the same situation. Zi Chen looked at Menes in front of him and said, "Didn't you want to know how I got in? It was this tree that helped me open it." Menes was shocked and said, "What kind of tree is this?" The two sides had not fought yet, but his power had already begun to flow away. If this continued, he would become weaker and weaker. How could he fight? One had to know that he could not win, otherwise he would not have hidden here. Zi Chen said, "It's called the ancient demon refining jade. Have you heard of it? The ancient demon refining jade that has disappeared for countless years? How is this possible?" Menes' expression changed drastically. Of course, he had heard of the ancient demon refining jade. It was the nemesis of all demons and specialized in devouring demons' power to grow. Up until now, Zi Chen had collected many demon corpses. Except for the heads that he exchanged for contribution points, the rest were used to cultivate the small tree. This was the first time the ancient demon refining jade had appeared in the world. So far, it seemed to be working well. He was very satisfied. Let's go. Menes no longer had any extravagant hopes. The ancient demon refining jade was too terrifying. If he encountered it, he would die. So he planned to escape. As soon as he moved, the others also moved and began to flee. But how could they escape? The demon god's painting appeared in the sky, and magic power fell down, forming a new barrier, shrouding all the demon race in it. The demons flew into the sky and began to attack the barrier with all kinds of methods, but it was to no avail. Next, Zi Chen quietly watched the scene unfold before him. He watched as the demons struggled frantically and watched as their soul power was devoured. They gradually fell into despair before finally dying. The ancient demon refining jade became more transparent and seemed to have grown taller. During this time, the range of its devouring continued to expand. In the end, in Zi Chen's field of vision, apart from the demon soldiers and the armor, there was only the demon seal left. Chapter 4302. Zi Chen stepped forward and took the devil seal. This was the most precious treasure of the devil clan. It could fight against holy masters and was very extraordinary. He picked it up and tried to activate it, but to no avail. After putting away the devil seal, Zi Chen put away the other things that were left behind and walked towards the ancient devil refining jade. The ancient devil refining jade that had devoured many devil clan experts was very docile in front of Zi Chen. Zi Chen reopened the space and put it away. Next, Zi Chen put away the demon god painting and left this world. The battle in the outside world was still going on. The devil clan, who were fighting like trapped beasts, had surprisingly strong fighting strength. Moreover, looking at the current situation, they should be able to hold on for a long time. Zi Chen did not make another move. These hundreds of thousands of troops needed to be tempered by blood and fire. Only then could they become a true army that could fight against the devil clan. Therefore, in this battle, the number of people was very serious, but those who could survive were definitely the elites of the elites. The result of the battle was not suspenseful. The army that first invaded the Saint Spirit world was completely annihilated. As the news spread, it brought about a profound impact on the Saint Spirit world. The first batch of Devil Clan was all killed, so how far were the other Devil Clan from death? At the same time, there were also people who had set their eyes on the God Clan that had come to the spirit world for the first time. After killing them, they could naturally be recorded in the annals of history and even have a reputation comparable to Zi Chen. However, how could it be easy to destroy these God Clan experts? After cleaning up this area, Zichen continued to lead the troops forward. His goal was very simple, to drive all the Devil Clan back. If they really could not make it back in time, then they would kill all of them and not leave a single one alive. When MOD left alone, he could be considered to be alone, so he had no choice but to return to the entrance. The Devil Clan had their own base camp here, and now countless Devil Clan had gathered here. Under the leadership of various commanders, they were advancing in various directions. MOD's arrival attracted a lot of attention. For a moment, many people looked sideways. When a commander who was gathering troops saw this scene, he laughed sarcastically. "Isn't this the commander, Lord MOD? Why are you alone today? I heard that this time you are leading the advance army of more than 100,000 Devil Clan." MOD glanced at him and snorted coldly. That commander suddenly slapped his forehead. "Oh, look at my memory. Your men have all died in battle. The entire army has been annihilated, for of the original 5 commanders have died. But looking at you today, I can't see any trace of you having participated in the battle. I say, could it be that you, the commander, are running away at the critical moment?" MOD pointed at the commander in front of him and said angrily, "Mo Yendanzwa, are you courting death?" Mo Yendanzwa laughed and said, I am so scared. I wonder how Lord MOD will kill me? You don't even have a single person left, and I just conscripted 100,000 soldiers." "Humph!" MOD coldly snorted. Mo Yendans was stopped joking around. "All right, you can scram back now. I want to see what kind of punishment you'll receive this time, even if you have a big face and a strong background." Speaking of this, MOD's face became gloomy. This time he was responsible for the complete annihilation of the army, and he would definitely be punished when he returned. However, he was unwilling to leave just like that. He looked at Mo Yendanzwa and said coldly, "Don't be happy too early here. You haven't met Zichen yet. If you do, your people will die even faster." Mo Yendanzwa said, "Oh, is that so? Unfortunately, I just took over your position, and now I'm going to find Zichen to help you take revenge." Hearing this, MOD finally smiled, and he was very happy. Before leaving the spirit world, this was the happiest thing that had happened to him. Before entering the passage, MOD said, "The next time I come, I will definitely burn incense for you. If it's possible, I'll bring your body back as well." With that, MOD left and returned to the Devil World through the stabilized passage. There was also a camp outside the Devil World. This camp was even larger and had even more people. Other than that, there were also many holy masters guarding this place. Among them, there was Holy Master Emowuda, among the holy venerables of the demonic snake guard. His ranking was one of the highest. In the past, Holy Master Emowuda's status was not so high. However, more than 2,000 years ago, the Devil Snake Guard had undergone a great purge due to internal reasons, causing his status to rise by a lot. It was said that that great purge seemed to be related to Emochin. MOD had not returned yet, but the news had already spread, so there were already several holy masters waiting for MOD here. Seeing MOD appear, Emowuda asked, "MOD, where are the others?" The other sacred venerates also looked at MOD and waited for his reply, even though they already had an answer in their hearts. MOD said in shame, "They all died in battle." A beautiful woman following behind Emowuda burst into tears when she heard what Emowuda had said. Emowuda said, "You saw them die in battle with your own eyes." "Although I didn't see it with my own eyes, according to Zichen's style, I believe that no one can survive." MOD said sorrowfully, "My colleagues were courting death, and I am responsible for it. When I return, I will describe the process in detail." Emowuda nodded and did not say anything else. As for what he was feeling in his heart, only he knew. The other holy masters were the same. Behind Emowuda, the woman was very sad, but she tried her best to control herself so that she would not cry out loud. Mod glanced at the woman and guessed her identity. He said his condolences to the woman and left. That Zichen caused a mess in the devil race back then. I didn't expect that when he returned to the spiritual realm, he would become a huge threat to our advancement. Damn it, really damn it. A holy master said coldly. He had just lost a junior that he valued greatly. What's the use of saying this now? He's already dead. Emo Wuda waved his hand and said, "Let's go back." Emo Wuda, you're really brave. Your son-in-law is dead, but you're still so calm. The holy master beside him said, "Watch your words. Lu Zhen is only my subordinate, not my son-in-law." Emo Wuda's face had a hint of anger. When the woman behind him heard this, she turned and left. At this moment, there was a sudden cry of surprise. Following that, a group of people returned to the devil realm. The woman who was about to leave heard a familiar voice. "Lu Zhen greets the Lord." The woman stood there motionless as if she had been struck by lightning. "Lu Zhen, is it really you?" Emo Wuda was a little surprised. The woman slowly turned around. During this time, she did not even blink. She was afraid that all of this was an illusion. She saw Lu Zhen. He looked very miserable, and his aura was not that strong. The armor on his body had long been shattered, but he was still alive. His arms and legs were still intact. Chapter 43:03. After Lu Zhen appeared, he did not stay for long. Emo Wuda took him back. Then, a holy sage came to ask how Lu Zhen managed to survive. This was because there were rumors that Lu Zhen had been in contact with Zichen many years ago. Of course, this was just a euphemism. They did not directly say that Lu Zhen was a spy. Everything was suppressed by holy sage Emo Wuda. The reason was that Lu Zhen was recuperating. However, the news about the battle had already spread. Apart from some fabrications, most of it came from Lu Zhen's subordinates. It was almost a complete reconstruction of the battle. Emo Wuda blocked everyone outside and didn't see anyone. Only when Mod came, he let him see Lu Zhen. Mod came to ask about Lu Zhen's recent situation and some details about the battle. "Where's Menes?" Mod asked directly. "I'm the one who wants to ask about Lord Menes." "Where's Menes?" Lu Zhen asked. Mod was puzzled. "Didn't the two of you stay back?" Speaking of this matter, Lu Zhen bitterly smiled. "To tell you the truth, after you left, Gonus took the demon seal and disappeared. I believe that he left together with you." "What?" Mod's expression changed. "There's such a thing," Lu Zhen said. "If the demonic seal had been there to fight against Zichen's painting, our people might have been able to hold on for a while. What a pity." Then Lu Zhen explained what happened. Finally, he raised a finger and said bitterly, "One move, just one move, and I was completely defeated. Moreover, I was the one who attacked first. If not for my life-saving means, I wouldn't have been able to come back." Mod had witnessed Zichen's strength with his own eyes, so he didn't make any comments here. Lu Zhen could be said to be lucky to be able to come back alive. However, what about Menes? If he had chosen to leave, there would be no problem. It was natural to preserve one's strength at a critical moment. For example, Mod did not even participate in the final battle. Although there were some criticisms in the demon race, it was not a serious crime. However, Menes' situation was different. He was a deserter, which was a big taboo in the demon race. Even Menes himself would never have thought that Lu Zhen, who should have died the most, was still alive. On the contrary, his whereabouts were unknown, and there was no news about him. "What do you think about Menes?" Mod asked after a moment of silence. Lu Zhen shook his head and said, "I don't know. Aside from the sacred master, no one else knows. Even Ian doesn't know." Mod's expression changed slightly. "What does Holy Senior mean?" Lu Zhen said, "The Lord asked me to keep it a secret and wait until my injuries are healed." Mod nodded. "That's good too. Heal your wounds first. There have been some rumors, recently. Don't mind them. The Lord is right. Let's talk about it after everything has recovered. Got it? Lu Zhan watched as Mod left. He did not go out to send him off. After Mod left, an inexplicable smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. If he had been the one to run away, he might have died dozens of times already. Back then, when Modi had left, he had called Menes his good brother. However, he would never have imagined that Menes would run away at the last moment. But even so, Mod still had to protect him at this moment. In fact, there was even a hint of threat in his last sentence. He had escaped death and returned from the battlefield, but he was suspected and threatened. The other one had run away at the last moment and had obviously committed a great taboo, but now someone was protecting him. It had to be said that this was very ironic. A woman walked into the room and looked at Lu Zhan. There was a hint of regret in her eyes. She sat beside Lu Zhan and gently held his hand. She said, "Why do you have to do this?" Lu Zhan slowly shook his head. "I'm sorry." Ian said, "Even if you and I get married, you don't have to change your surname. I believe that one day you will be able to rely on your own efforts to become a true sacred master." Lu Zhan turned around and looked at the beautiful woman in front of him. "Actually, you have more choices." She was Emo Wuda's daughter, his only daughter. She had always been the pearl of the devil world. The line of handsome men who liked her had been very long. She had many choices, many suitable choices, but she had chosen the most inappropriate one, a different surname. Ian gently leaned on Lu Zhan's shoulder and smiled happily. "I think this is the best choice. I like this. Yes, this is how it is. Do you know, after hearing the news, I was really scared. I was really scared that you would never come back." Lu Zhan hugged Ian and said softly, "Don't worry, I will live. Now, in the future, and forever." Everyone can talk big, but how many can really do it? A dignified voice sounded from the door. Emo Wuda walked in. Ian stood up and called out, "Dad." Lu Zhan cupped his fist and greeted him. Emo Wuda nodded and stood there looking at Lu Zhan. Emo Ian knew that the two of them had something to discuss, so she tactfully left. Emo Wuda sat opposite Lu Zhan. Then he gently waved his hand and a surge of sacred master power appeared, isolating the room. Then Emo Wuda continued waving his hand and Lu Zhan sat down. "How do you feel about your trip to the spiritual realm?" Emo Wuda asked. The coldness in his voice lessened. "Not bad," Lu Zhan said. Emo Wuda smiled. "You call groveling all the way not bad." Lu Zhan was silent for a moment. Then he said, "At least I'm still alive." "Do you know why all of this happened?" Emo Wuda looked at Lu Zhan. "In terms of realms, you are the same. In terms of combat power, you are even stronger than them. However, among the 5 of you, your status is the lowest. This time, you returned from the battlefield with a narrow escape, but you are suspected. On the other hand, Menes, who is afraid of death and ran away, is protected everywhere. Why?" Lu Zhan took a deep breath and calmed himself down. "Because my surname is Lu." Yes, it was because his surname was Lu and his name was Lu Zhan. That was why he had all these. If he was Emo Wuda, it would be a different situation. In the demon race, the strong were respected? Wrong. It was the surname that was respected. If there was no surname, then the sacred master was respected. If there was neither, then he had to lower his head, just like Lu Zhan's performance. Sometimes Lu Zhan admired Zichen. After coming here, he dared to casually call himself Emo Chin. He did not know the true meaning of this surname in the demon race. Emo Wuda looked at Lu Zhan. "Since you know, are you still going to persist?" Chapter 4304. Following Emo Wuda, Lu Zhan had many choices. Sometimes it was about himself, and sometimes it was the Lord who gave him the choice. There was only one incident that left a deep impression on him. This was the second time. Both times it was the same question. Last time, Lu Zhen chose to reject, but this time Lu Zhen hesitated. Mo Wuda said, "Without the Mo surname, you will be restricted everywhere. Why don't you make it easier for yourself?" Lu Zhen was silent. "I know what you are thinking. You are from the Spirit Clan, and you have always wanted them to live a better life. This is not wrong. This time, when the Spirit Realm opens, there is also a Saint-Devil region in that area, right? Moreover, in the Devil Realm, there are many families that were converted from the Spirit Clan to the Devil Clan." Mo Wuda said, "Whether you are from the Spirit Clan or the Devil Clan, it has nothing to do with what you want to do. How can a surname control you? Can't you do things for the Spirit Clan because your surname is Mo?" Lu Zhen knew his current situation, but it was still difficult for him to give up. After all, this was the only thing he had left about the Spirit Clan. Mo Wuda said, "This time if I hadn't secretly helped you get rid of some of your tails, they would have been able to use this incident as an excuse to find out what you've done that went against the interests of the demon race. If you continue, there will be many similar things in the future. Can you guarantee that you will be lucky every time and not be found out?" Lu Zhen, who was hesitating, finally nodded and made the choice. Seeing Lu Zhen nodding, Mo Wuda was not too happy. Instead, he said, "You have to think about it carefully. If you really do this, it will be beneficial for you now, but it will be impossible for you to return in the future." Lu Zhen said, "I grew up here and this is my home." Mo Wuda nodded in the end. Soon, a shocking news spread. Mo Wuda's only daughter, Moen, was going to marry Lu Zhen. Perhaps in the entire Devil Realm, this was not a big deal, but in the Devil Snake Guards, it was enough to cause a sensation. From now on, there was no more Commander Lu Zhen, but a commander called Moen. Mo was the surname of the Devil Realm. It was the surname of Moen, and Zhen was his original name. This situation was not uncommon in the Devil Realm. This was marrying into one's family. He gave up his surname forever and became a member of the Mo Wuda clan. Although this surname was not very glorious, it was still the surname of Mo. It was the surname of Mo that everyone had to respect. No matter what they thought in their hearts, in front of Mo Yisian, at least no one dared to mention this matter. Because the great battle was still ongoing, all the weddings were held in a bit of a hurry. However, those who should have come all came. Among them, there were many commanders and vice-commanders who had not yet entered the battlefield. They all came to offer their congratulations. If one were to talk about Moizhan, it was definitely a part of the history of the demon race's struggle. In the past, the demon race only possessed a trace of bloodline aura. However, through their continuous efforts, they slowly gained a foothold in the Demon Snake Guard and achieved their current achievements. Among the Devil Snake Guards, only Mo Yizhen had such achievements. Although many people felt that the surname of Mo was not glorious, it still could not hide the glory that he had created. Compared to those who were born with the surname of Mo Yizhen's struggle history could be said to be brilliant beyond compare. On the day of the wedding, MOD also came to congratulate Mo Yizhen as a comrade. At the same time, MOD also announced some of the deeds of the other three commanders in a high-profile manner. There was still no news of Mo Nisi. It could be said that he had generously sacrificed himself. The truth was covered up just like that. As for the price that Mo Nisi's family had paid for this, no one knew. After the wedding, Mo Yizhen did not have time to enjoy the couple's time and entered the battlefield again. MOD also went. His failure last time had left him brooding. This time, after calming down all the rumors, he decided to go to the battlefield to regain his face. He did not look for trouble with anyone but Ziqin. He wanted to kill Ziqin. Not only did his idea receive the approval of Mo Yizhen, but also the unanimous agreement of the demon race. If they could kill Ziqin at this time, it would be a great achievement. Therefore, in order to support MOD, the demon race had paid quite a price this time. Returning to the battlefield of the spirit realm, looking at the army of Demon Clan, Mo asked with a trembling voice, How should we start? A smile appeared on the corner of MOD's mouth. There is a ready-made bait that can be used. Let's go find him directly. MOD thought of a very suitable candidate, Mo Yendanzwa. Last time, when he returned, that fellow had spoken rudely, causing him to be very disgusted. This time he had regained his great power, so it was necessary for him to get back at him. Furthermore, his men were currently at war with Zichin. If they wanted to deal with Zichin, they would naturally have to find Mo Yendanzwa. MOD explained his plan. MOE nodded his head and said, "It sounds feasible." MOD laughed. "This time we have the absolute advantage. The possibility of success is very high. But you have to step in, because if I go, Mo Yendanzwa will definitely be suspicious." "No problem, leave it to me," MOE said with a trembling voice. "Since that's the case, I'll go over first. You bring your men and follow me." "All right." After MOE left, the smile on MOD's face gradually disappeared. "Who do you think you are? You think you have a high status just because you have the MO surname. Why don't you take a look at how you got the surname?" Just as Mo Wuda had said, as long as Lu Jin had the Mo surname, he would no longer have any shortcomings. No matter what people said behind him, in front of others, everyone would have to be respectful to him. After making up for his last shortcoming, Mo Yi's position in the Demon Snake Guards rose. At this moment, everyone could finally take his battle strength and the purity of his demon chi seriously. It sounded ridiculous, but it was the truth. MOE took the latest battle report and headed towards Mo Yendanzwa's team. Ever since he came into contact with Zichen's team, Mo Yendanzwa had been retreating and had not won a single battle. Of course, he was not destroyed by Zichen. After glancing at the battle report, MOE, who knew Zichin very well, guessed Zichen's intentions. Zichin was using him to train his troops. At the very least, he would have to nibble away at his men for a period of time. Once these people lost their value, they would be eaten by Zichin in one go. MOE stepped onto the flying boat and went to find Mo Yendanzwa. It had to be said that there were indeed a lot of good things in the Saint Spirit world. For example, this kind of flying boat was something that the demon world never had. Of course, this was also because the demon world was too small and could not be compared to the vast spirit world. This world was endless. Moreover, controlling these flying boats was very simple. He only needed to use the energy crystals of the spirit world. Chapter 4305. What Mo Zhen? I've never heard of him. Tell him not to bother me. Hearing his subordinates report, Mo Yendanzwa waved his hand impatiently. His subordinate did not leave. Instead, he whispered into his ear, reporting to my lord. Mo Zhen is that Commander Lu Jin. Oh, Mo Yendanzwa's expression changed slightly. Didn't he die in battle? Why did he change his name? Not many people knew about Mo Zhen, but Lu Zhen was quite famous among the Devil Snake Guards. The only pity was that he did not have the surname Mo. Now it seemed that he did. Mo Yendanzwa suddenly thought of the rumor about Lu Zhen, and his expression changed as he said, "Let him in." The subordinate left, and Mo Zhen quickly walked in. A smile appeared on Mo Yendanzwa's face. I was wondering which lord had come to visit. So it's Brother Lu. Why are you here? Before Mo Zhen could reply, Mo Yendanzwa slapped his forehead and said, "I forgot it should be Brother Mo. I haven't congratulated you on obtaining the surname Mo. Everyone says that you, Mo Yendanzwa, speak sarcastically. Today, I see that you live up to your reputation." Mo Zhen smiled and said, "You don't have any objections to me. The matters of your Mo Yen clan back then had nothing to do with me. At most, I was working for someone else. And you can also treat me as a lackey." The smile on Mo Yendanzwa's face disappeared as he said, "Although you and I are both Devil Snake Guards, we have always minded our own business. Why are you here today? Could it be that something has happened?" I came to give you a big gift. I just don't know if you dare to accept it. Mo Yijin said. How could you be so kind? Mo Yendan's eyes were filled with doubt. It was obvious that he did not believe him. I survived a great calamity and came to the battlefield this time. What do you think it's for? Mo asked. Zichen. Mo Yendan's eyes were filled with vigilance. Don't be so nervous. My goal is to kill Zichen, and you want the battle achievements after Zichen's death. There's no conflict. Mo Yijin smiled and said, How about it? Are you interested in cooperating? How are we going to cooperate? Pull you over to be my hired thug? Mo Yendan's sneered. Or rather, you came here alone today. No matter how bad my team is, you won't be missing, right? Mo said in a trembling voice that only the other party could hear. Devil Yendan's expression immediately changed. Really? How could it be fake? This time, in order to kill Zichen, we have made ample preparations. Mo said with a trembling voice, How about it? Are you interested? Mo Yendan's was naturally interested. However, Zichen's battle prowess was extremely strong. Even if he was fully prepared, how was he supposed to kill him? I need to borrow your men. What's the use of him? Mo said with a trembling voice. Through that information, I have some understanding of Zichen. This person must be very conceited. So after seeing me appear, he will definitely be furious. Therefore, I want to lure him out. The reason why I didn't go over was because one person was too obvious. He definitely wouldn't fall for it. This was very easy to understand. Mo Yendan could understand that the only thing he needed to pay attention to now was who would get the merit points after killing Zichen. This was what Mo Yendan's cared about the most. Mo said with a trembling voice, We only wish to see Zichen die. As for the final contribution, it doesn't matter, because we are not on the same path. We just happen to cooperate with each other. As for the final contribution, you will naturally find your lord to receive it, and we will find our own. Understood. You can use my men as you wish. Mo Yendan's readily agreed. Thus, Mo Yijin stayed here, waiting for news from MOD. MOD was very efficient, or rather, he had already gathered enough people when he came. And this time, MOD was the absolute leader. As for Mo Yijin, he was at most a vice commander. Thus, after everything was arranged, Mo Yijin brought Mo Yendan's men to challenge Zichen. Actually, there was no need to deliberately look for him, because Zichen's team had been advancing at a leisurely pace. After such a long period of development, the size of the team behind him had already exceeded 1 million. Mo Yijin looked at Zichen's team from afar and shouted, Idiots of the Spirit Clan, do you still remember me? That's right, I am your lord, Mo Yijin. You didn't expect me to still be alive, did you? Tell Zichen to scram out here. I want to talk to him. Curses immediately came from the Spirit Clan army in front of him. However, these voices quickly disappeared, and Zichen walked over from behind. When he saw Mo Yijin, a look of surprise appeared on his face. You're not dead! Humph, what do you think? With your little strength, you want to kill me, Mo Yijin? Mo Yijin said proudly, Why don't you take a look at who you are? Zichen was startled again. Mo Yijin, you were called Lu Zhen last time, but this time you actually have the surname Mo. It seems that the demon clan thinks highly of you. Changing the topic, Zichen continued. However, the demon clan even wants someone like you who can't even withstand a single blow. It seems like there aren't many people left in the demon clan. Why are you the only one here today? Did that guy who ran away without a fight come with you? I remember that he was called MOD, right? I have to say, the way he ran away was really special. He actually ran away with his magic staff in his crotch. Haha. As soon as Zichen finished speaking, laughter suddenly came from behind Mo Yijin. It was Mo Yendan's laughter, because he couldn't hold it in. He knew that MOD had brought a treasure with him last time, and in the end, He had used it to escape. Mo Ijan looked at Mo Yendanzwa, who quickly said, a mistake, I couldn't hold it in. Continue, ha. Thinking of that action, Mo Yendanzwa laughed again. Mo Ijan also smiled slightly. It seemed that this leader and MOD were not on good terms at all. He continued, cut the crap. If you have the ability, come over and see who will kill who today. Let me tell you, in our demon clan, every existence with the surname Mo is not to be trifled with. Is that so? Zichen laughed sarcastically. Then let me see what kind of methods you have. He waved his hand, his eyes surging with boundless killing intent. Kill! Don't leave a single one alive! The army behind him rushed forward with an imposing aura. Zichen understood the other party's meaning from Lu Zhan's words. So this time he would send out his troops with all his might and not leave a single one alive. The two armies met and began a large-scale war. However, right after the battle began, the demon clan began to retreat step by step. Zichen looked at the demon clan who was deliberately retreating, and a smile appeared on his face. Interesting. Chapter 4306. Under Zichen's pursuit, the demon clan was defeated again and again, retreating again and again, suffering great losses. In his field of vision, an army of over 1 million spread out, like an endless black painting, slowly moving. Light continued to shine, indicating that they were fighting. Zichen looked into the distance. Mo Ijan did not make a move from the beginning, and after the provocation he kept retreating. His provocation this time was so obvious. Zichen followed without hesitation. They were all brought here by Zichen from the Sky Martial Continent, and had killed their way here. Now that Zichen wanted to go in alone, they naturally had to follow. Zichen shook his head and said, No need, you guys stay here and continue to fight. Be careful of these demon clan's tricks. I will come back after killing their leader. The few of them were a little worried, but when they thought about Zichen's current fighting strength, they did not say anything more. The passage was still unstable, and even the holy masters of the demon clan were unable to come over. Zichen was invincible in this world. These people dispersed and continued to fight. Zichen went deeper in alone. Zichen followed the fleeing people at a leisurely pace. In front of his field of vision, a planet appeared. Looking at the planet, Zichen's face had a strange expression, because he felt that it was a little strange. He had never been to this place before, so he did not know what this world used to be called. However, since all the demon clan were fleeing towards that world, it meant that their ambush was on that planet. Mo Ijan came outside of the planet and looked at Zichen, who had suddenly stopped. His eyes gradually turned cold. On the other hand, Mo Yendanzwa's face had a hint of worry. What if Zichen did not fall for it? Just at this moment, Mo Ijan suddenly made a throat-slitting gesture towards Zichen and said coldly, Do you dare to fight me to the death? Zichen smiled faintly. Although I don't know how many reinforcements you have prepared here. Since you are courting death, I will fulfill your wish. Zichen caught up with him. A trace of a smile appeared on Mo Yendanzwa's face. As long as Zichen entered, he would definitely die. To him, this was a great achievement. After entering this world and sensing the dense mana, Devil Yenshan's confidence grew. This is for you. When you are in a life or death situation, open it and take a look. Mo gave Mo Yendanzwa a brocade pouch and said solemnly, Remember, this is the most dangerous time. Mo Yendanzwa nodded and took it. He didn't ask anything and solemnly put it away. The two of them flew forward. Below them, there were only tall trees. There was no city, and no one could tell that it had been inhabited before. Let your people take over first, Mo said with a trembling voice. At this moment, Zichen had just arrived in this world. Devil Yendanzwa immediately gave the signal, and black figures flew out from below, heading towards Zichen. These were all experts, But in this place, they were just cannon fodder. They were here to die, and their goal was to exhaust Zi Chen's strength. The greater the casualties, the greater the final harvest. Mo Yen Danzwa knew that even if all the troops he brought with him died this time, as long as he successfully killed Zi Chen, the final reward he would receive would only be even more generous. Zi Chen looked at the world below and felt every blade of grass and every tree in this world. A hint of surprise gradually appeared in his eyes, and he smiled. I didn't expect you to make such a big move this time. You actually moved the world of the demon clan here. What? Do you think doing this will give you some confidence? As for the cannon fodder that rushed up, he didn't even look at them, until the cannon fodder surrounded him in a circle, and from the looks of it, they were going to use some kind of array formation. Zi Chen's body suddenly disappeared. In the next moment, he turned into a bolt of lightning and circled around the group of people inside the formation. The light disappeared, and Zi Chen returned to his original position. His gaze was still looking into the distance, and he said, "Since you guys are so well prepared, I naturally have to be more serious." The auras around these cannon fodder dissipated, and their bodies fell one after another. Once Zi Chen became serious, they would all die. Buzz! The sky suddenly trembled, and a magic staff appeared out of thin air, releasing a light that enveloped the entire world. When Mo Yen Danzwa saw this scene in the distance, his expression couldn't help but change. The joy from before completely disappeared. It's MOD's magic staff. You even found MOD? Mo Yen Danzwa stared at MOE, his eyes cold. You idiot! It wasn't him who found me. It was me who found you. MOD's laughter rang out, and he walked out from the shadows. You idiot! You didn't even ask about what happened in the demon realm, and only knew how to run. You really are stupid to the extreme. You're courting death. Mo Yen Danzwa said angrily. With the current you think you can kill me? MOD glanced at Mo Yen Danzwa and said disdainfully, "Right now you should obediently stand there and pray for my plan to succeed. Maybe in the end, I can even give you a mouthful of soup to drink. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." MOE, what's going on? Mo Yen Danzwa stared at MOE and asked. MOE's trembling face was filled with shame. It's very simple. I'll use you as bait. MOD laughed. How is it? My plan isn't bad, right? Looking at the proud MOD, Mo Yen Danzwa was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. Good. Good you, MOD, just you wait. When I get out, I'll definitely not let you off. If I don't kill you, before Mo Yen Danzwa could finish his words, MOE's trembling voice sounded in his mind. Are you courting death? Threatening him now. Aren't you afraid that he'll kill you here? Only then did Mo Yen Danzwa react and immediately shut his mouth. The current situation was very disadvantageous to him. He glared fiercely at MOE. He had actually been tricked by the other party. Idiot, I'll let you live for a while. MOD no longer paid attention to Mo Yen Danzwa and turned to look at Zi Chen. How do you want to die today? Zi Chen did not answer, but asked instead, Are you guys done quarreling? He said regretfully, I thought you two would definitely have to fight to the death first. MOD coldly snorted, Don't try to sow discord. Zi Chen said, You clearly have killing intent in your heart, but you don't dare to admit it. What? Are you waiting to kill me before killing that stupid guy? Zi Chen's voice was not suppressed, so Mo Yen Danzwa could hear it clearly. Of course, his expression was ugly. It seems that you are indeed smarter than him. However, if you think that you can kill me like this, then you are too naive. Chapter 4307. Seeing Zi Chen's actions, MOD laughed out loud. I thought you still had some tricks up your sleeves, but I didn't expect it to be such an old thing. MOD said in disdain. How many times have I told you? This painting belongs to my demon clan. It can't even unleash its full power in your hands. After pausing for a moment, MOD continued, "Furthermore, since I've seen your methods, do you think we won't be on guard?" As soon as he finished speaking, a demonic blade appeared from another direction. The demonic blade released the supreme power. The supreme power was very clear and obvious, as if a holy master was standing there. After seeing the blade, Mo Yendan's expression couldn't help but change as he cried out involuntarily, "This is the venerable King Blade!" Moe was also shocked. He only knew that MOD had prepared a backup plan, but he wasn't sure what it was exactly. At this moment, when he saw the chi of the venerable King Blade, he was a little shocked. However, after sensing it carefully, he realized that it was not pure. It was not the famous venerable King Blade, but an imitation. Feeling the supreme power, Zichen's expression did not change much, and said indifferently, "To transport such a weapon over, you must have paid quite a price, right?" MOD said, "The price is indeed not small. Because of this plan, the passage that was about to stabilize has once again become chaotic. At the very least, the Holy Master will have to delay his arrival for several hundred years." Zichen said, "Just to kill me, is it worth it?" "I don't think it's worth it, but the Holy Masters think it's worth it. Not to mention a few hundred years. Even if it's 1,000 years, it's still worth it." In the sky, the magic blade and magic staff released their auras at the same time, suppressing Zichen. The originally bright world gradually darkened, as if a storm was about to arrive. Zichen felt the powerful oppressive aura, so he activated the painting. The painting unfolded above Zichen's head, as if a real mountain and river had appeared in the sky. Whether it was the magic blade or the magic staff, they were all blocked outside. "Look, you still can't do anything to me," Zichen said with some regret. MOD looked at Zichen as if he was looking at an idiot. "Do you think that this thing can delay the invasion of the Saint Masters of the demon race by hundreds of years?" After saying that, another magic fan flew up from another place, followed by an ancient magic lamp. 4 demonic artifacts appeared in 4 different directions, releasing powerful auras at the same time, trying to suppress the demonic god painting. Mo Yendanzwa was very shocked because the remaining 2 weapons also had extraordinary origins. They were extremely famous in the devil world, and they were actually brought out by MOD. Moe trembled as he looked at the 4 demon weapons and said, "They are not real weapons. They were just temporarily refined. However, with the support of the supreme power, their power is extraordinary." At this moment, he was a little worried. "That's it." Zichen's expression remained calm as he quietly looked at the 4 demon weapons. The devil race had specially brought them here. They were indeed terrifying, but he was not afraid. If it was the god race who schemed against him this time, he would not have come alone, because he did not know much about the god race, but the devil race was different. Zichen had the demonic god painting on him, and at the same time he had been to the devil world once, so he had a better understanding of the devil race. The 4 demon weapons attacked at the same time, and Zichen also controlled the painting to block. It was not easy, but he could still block it. MOD's eyes lit up, and he had a deeper understanding of the demonic god painting. Who was Zichen? He was from the Spirit Clan. A Spirit Clan using the demonic god painting could have such power, able to block the 4 great demon weapons. What if he used it instead? Wouldn't the power increase by a level? Could it instantly suppress the 4 great demon weapons? What if it was used by the saint? Wouldn't it be comparable to the resurrection of the demon god? The reason why MOD was so excited was because the higher-ups had already made a promise to him. This time, when they surrounded and killed Zichen, his family had contributed a lot. So after Zichen died, his family would obtain the demonic god painting. Seeing that the 4 great demon weapons were evenly matched with the painting, not only was MOD not disappointed, he was even very excited. This time, Zichen was arrogant and came to this place alone. After the 4 great demon weapons came out, This world from the demon clan would be isolated from everything. As for Zi Chen's teams, even if they came over now, they would not be able to find this place. Therefore, this place had already become a dangerous place. They wanted to kill Zi Chen in this dangerous place. Mo Di retreated, his eyes cold. In the distance, Mo Yen was still in shock and was speechless for a long time. These 4 great demon weapons made him understand Mo Di's determination. And in this situation, Mo Di really dared to kill anyone. He was not afraid of Mo Di, but he was also aware of the situation. Otherwise, it would really be like what Mo Yi had said, his death would be in vain. Rays of light flew out from below, each of them at the 9-star realm. These were the private troops of the MOD family. Perhaps their status was different from the demon snake guards, but each of them was an elite. They acted as cannon fodder, the first wave to fight. Of course, it could also be said that they were sending themselves to their deaths. MOD's face was cold as he quietly watched this scene from afar. One of the 9-star holy spirits that were charging forward suddenly ignited with flames. The raging devil flames burned fiercely, and his aura became even stronger. Zi Chen's expression changed. MOD said indifferently, "Even if my men are cannon fodder, they are still heroic cannon fodder." A light flashed in front of Zi Chen, and a black shield appeared, blocking in front of him. The shield immediately enlarged, and ancient patterns lingered on its surface. He chose to defend. The 9-star holy spirit that had ignited his life crashed into the light shield. Boom! A powerful force shook, and Zi Chen's figure retreated. On the light shield in front of him, countless ripples were stirred up. After the attack, the 9-star holy spirit's aura paused, but it did not disappear and continued to charge forward. It did not try to change its direction, and still charged in a straight line. With a second boom, Zi Chen retreated again. Die. A cold voice sounded from not far away, and it was the second demon who had launched an attack. He did not ignite his life, but formed a seal to attack. In the sky, black light surged, and then black flying swords descended from the sky, attacking Zi Chen. It was like a rain of light. Zi Chen looked up at this scene and could only raise the light shield to continue blocking. But at this moment, the 9-star holy spirit that had ignited his life attacked for the third time. Zi Chen frowned slightly, and then a light flashed above his head, and another shield appeared. These 2 shields came from the Holy Talisman realm, and their quality was extremely high. One shield blocked the sky full of attacks, and the second shield blocked the third attack of the 9-star Holy Spirit that had ignited his life. Boom! A powerful force shook, and Zi Chen continued to retreat. 3 attacks was the limit of the 9-star Holy Spirit. In fact, he could have attacked a dozen or even dozens of times, but the power would be weaker. With the death of the 9-star Holy Spirit, the second 9-star Holy Spirit took its place. Chapter 4308. Mo Yen Danzwe looked at the battle in the sky, his eyes full of shock. Zi Chen's strength was obvious to all, so he had been wondering if he could kill Zi Chen this time. But after MOD used one method after another, he gradually believed it. Even the cannon fodders that were sent to their deaths were so orderly and well-trained. He believed that Zi Chen would not be able to survive this time. This existence who had created countless miracles in the spiritual realm might really die here today. Boom, 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 boom. Powerful energy fluctuations surged, and all kinds of attacks appeared in the sky. Some burned their life force, some used spells from afar, some assassins who were good at hiding. There were blade lights, sword shadows. Demon Zi Chen was surrounded by 2 light shields, blocking all the attacks. From the beginning to the end, he had been defending and hadn't taken the initiative to attack. It had to be said that these people were well prepared and their combat strength was extraordinarily strong. Since the battle with the demons, this should be the most passive Zi Chen had ever been. As expected of the first person, Not only does he have the demon god painting, but all the equipment on him is also extraordinary. Mo Yendanzwa, who stood in the distance and didn't participate in the battle, sighed. With such a detailed plan, Zi-chun would definitely die today, so looking at the other party, he was very emotional. If it were an ordinary spirit clan member, who knew how many times they would have died. Compared to the demons, the spirit clan's individual combat strength was much weaker. He didn't expect Zi-chin to be so strong. Mo Ijin didn't say a word as he quietly watched the battle. Zi-chen's two light shields had an extraordinarily strong defense. Amidst the continuous explosions of energy, the luster of Zi-chen's two guardian shields dimmed significantly. MOD said, "That's enough." When the 9-star saint spirit who had been attacking Zi-chen from afar heard the voice, a flying sword appeared in his hand. The flying sword was only the size of an ordinary dagger. He made a gesture with one hand and said, "Go!" Like a bolt of black lightning, it suddenly appeared, instantly passing through the barrier of space, and came to Zi-chen's side. Then it avoided the light shield and stabbed Zi-chen's head. This was an opportunity that the other party had been deliberately waiting for in order to kill him in one strike. Clang! A black staff suddenly appeared and blocked in front of Zi-chen, knocking the small sword back. Zi-chen expressionlessly controlled the 3 weapons, 2 for defense and 1 for attack. After the small sword was sent flying, it returned to the side of the 9-star demon. The light on the surface of the small sword became very dim. The 9-star saint spirit had no time to feel sorry for it. He could only look for another opportunity. But this time it wasn't all for nothing. At the very least, it forced Zi-chen to use his 3rd weapon. MOD sneered. "There's still quite a few good things, but I want to see how many more of them you have." At this moment, another sharp aura appeared behind Zi-chen. It was a weapon similar to a flying sword, and it headed straight for Zi-chen. It was still Zi-chen's opening in defense, and the timing was very precise. Zi-chen's expression didn't change. The 2 light shields operated on their own, and the staff in his hand quickly changed direction, smashing towards the attack. At this moment, the small sword that had just been sent flying also came, appearing behind Zi-chen. Under such a pincer attack, Zi-chen used his 4th weapon, which was the simple spear. Clang! The 2 attacks were sent flying one after another. After the small sword flew out, it exploded. Obviously, it wasn't a strong weapon that could be used for a long time. 2 shields, a staff, and a spear. These were the weapons that Zi-chen had taken out for defense. It could be seen that his situation wasn't good. In addition, the picture scrolls in the sky were still fighting, and they needed to consume Zi-chen's strength. Since MOD had escaped last time, he had made full preparations this time. He didn't even give Zi-chen a chance to make a comeback. Just from the looks of it, Zi-chen already had no chance of survival, even if Zi-chen's performance was still calm and steady. But he still had to die. Mo-e trembled as he watched the battle quietly. There was no need for him to make a move, and MOD didn't let him make a move either. His expression was calm, but what about his heart? Zi-chen had come here because of his trust in him. However, MOD's methods were truly unexpected. Mo Yendan's was suddenly asked, "Mo-e, do you think I can get this great merit?" This was a sound transmission. Mo-e didn't answer and remained silent, but this seemed to be an answer. Mo Yendan's was said, "I understand." Next, he quietly watched the battle. More and more attacks appeared. Zi-chen's defense was no longer watertight. Most importantly, facing countless attacks, Zi-chen's power soldier was about to be unable to hold on. During this period of time, the demon clan had already used up too much manpower and resources. Just the 9-star holy spirits alone had already died. 5 of the small weapons had already been used up. Furthermore, there were still people attacking, burning their strength without any regard for their lives. There were also similar terrifying weapons that seemed to be endless. The luster on Zi Chen's companion's spirit shield was constantly fading, and some fine cracks appeared on it. If Zi Chen put it away now and took it back to refine it again, it could still be repaired. Unfortunately, he didn't have the time. With a loud bang, a powerful force shook. The companion spirit shield that Zi Chen had snatched back then exploded. A high-quality weapon was destroyed just like that. Then the black rod that Zi Chen was constantly attacking next to him, which was also within 100 soldiers of a sacred weapon mountain back then, was now in imminent danger. In the end, it also exploded with a loud bang and shattered. The spear and the ancient shield were still holding on. Their quality was very extraordinary, but in the face of such a powerful attack, who knew how long they could last? Moreover, this was the strongest weapon that Zi Chen currently had. Zi Chen's Hall and Soul Hall were both in the Tianwu world. The painting scroll was pinned down, and this was the only thing left. MOD, who had been watching the battle indifferently, suddenly said after seeing Zi Chen's 2 weapons being destroyed, "It's done." In the sky, the 4 powerful demon weapons suddenly released threads of light. They were like countless tentacles, heading towards the painting scroll. The painting scroll was wrapped in layers, looking like it was bound by countless spider silk. They didn't even wait for Zi Chen to die and wanted to snatch the painting scroll. Once the painting scroll was lost, Zi Chen would definitely die. It had to be said that this was a huge move. Mo Yi trembled and was somewhat desperate. Mo Yen Danzwa was also in despair. When Zi Chen died, he should be the second. Perhaps Mo Yi Yen would be the third. It was also at this moment that Zi Chen's voice suddenly sounded. "If you had said that they were your backup, I wouldn't have to waste so much effort. Go ahead, and snatch them." Chapter 4309. After withdrawing the energy that was controlling the scroll, Zi Chen pointed at the space between his eyebrows. As the finger fell, several streaks of soul light scattered in all directions and attacked in several directions. This was Zi Chen's first counterattack after being besieged. As these streaks of soul light approached, a layer of protection appeared on the bodies of those 9-star holy spirits. It was obvious that everyone was prepared. The streaks of soul light were blocked and were dissipating. Zi Chen's body disappeared from where he was. The streaks of soul light that scattered in all directions were not a killing move. It was enough as long as they could help him delay for a moment. His body seemed to have teleported, and in an instant he was in front of a demon. Close at hand, the spear was like lightning and instantly pierced into the chest of the other party. Then, Zi Chen's body disappeared again. He appeared in another direction and drew a line in the sky. A straight line appeared between heaven and earth, as if the rules of this world had divided the whole world into 2. An obvious black line was drawn forward. The 3 9-star holy spirits could not dodge in time. Their bodies were divided into 2, and their souls were annihilated. Mo.D saw Zi Chen's counterattack, but he did not stop it. At this moment, he was wholeheartedly snatching the scroll. As long as the scroll was taken away, Zi Chen would die without a doubt. However, even without Zi Chen's control, the scroll was still strong. In the face of the erosion of the 4 types of demonic power, it seemed indifferent. Below, Zi Chen, who was counterattacking, seemed to be slaughtering. One by one, the 9-star holy spirits fell. At the same time, Spectre, who had been enduring for a long time, also appeared out of thin air and swallowed a 9-star holy spirit in one gulp. In this place, under the rules of this world, it was like a fish in water. After Zi Chen returned from the Devil Realm last time, he brought with him a lot of demonic power. Almost all of it was devoured by Spectre. More than 2,000 years had passed, and Spectre had also grown. Now it could easily devour these demons. From the very beginning of the counterattack, Zi Chen's formidable fighting strength was evident. Even though he was suppressed at the beginning and consumed too much energy, he was still able to slaughter those demons. Only those who used small swords could pose a threat to Zichen in an instant. However, such a weapon could only pose a threat to Zichen twice. In other words, they could only block 2 attacks from Zichen. After those 2 attacks, they would definitely die. How could this be? Seeing Zichen killing in all directions, but there was no movement from his side for a long time, MOD's expression was no longer calm. In his estimation, with the 4 demon soldiers working together to deal with the painting controlled by Zichen, and with the interference of others, this painting that Zichen could not control should have changed hands long ago. However, Zichen had already given up control of the painting. Why were they still unable to gain control of the painting? A thought appeared in MOD's mind, but he couldn't believe that it was true, because Zichen was only from the spirit clan. How could he be recognized by the painting? Or rather, how could he refine the painting? Right now, Zichen was unstoppable. If he couldn't quickly control the painting, then his people would all die this time. Activate the killing array. MOD shouted. He could only prepare in advance. Under the 4 demon soldiers, ripples appeared in the sky, and a killing array that had been set up long ago appeared. The killing array of the demon clan was very terrifying. Back then, Zichen had seen with his own eyes that old Blindi could use a killing array to kill a city of demon snake guards. At the same time, this killing array was also a backup plan that MOD had prepared. When the killing array appeared, Zichen raised his head to look at the sky. There was a light in his eyes. It was the demon god's eye. He could clearly see the core of the killing array. Not only did he see the core of the killing array, but he also saw the 2 9-star demons hidden there. Zichen shook the spear in his hand and said, "Go." The spear left his hand and soared into the sky like a sword light. This was a sword technique, the kind of technique that Zichen had brought back from the demon realm. After many years of research, he could barely use it. Back then, that lord had said that this technique was not inferior to the lightning controlling technique. It was just that in this environment, the power of the lightning controlling technique would be reduced. It was not as powerful as the sword technique. The spear was like a sword, instantly piercing through the array and then piercing into the bodies of the 2 hidden 9-star demons. It was completely pierced through. Killed in one strike, the array in the sky rippled and then collapsed. The array was broken, but MOD still did not control the painting. This caused his expression to become unsightly. Zichen glanced at MOD and said, "Actually, you shouldn't underestimate me. Of course, it doesn't matter if you underestimate me, but you shouldn't underestimate the demon god's painting. You have to know that this is something that the demon god personally gave to me. Do you think that the demon god's things can be controlled by these 4 weapons?" In the distance, Amo Yendanzwa cried out, "Demon god, you've seen Lord Demon God." "Of course. That's impossible. Why didn't Lord Demon God kill you? Why did he give you the painting?" Amo Yendanzwa clearly did not believe it. "You talk too much nonsense. Go to hell." The spear flew back. With a thought, Zichen formed a seal with one hand. In the next moment, the spear continued to turn into a sword and flew towards Amo Yendanzwa. Seeing that Zichen was actually attacking him, Amo Yendanzwa's expression changed drastically, and he immediately raised his defense. At the same time, he also used his life-saving method. As the spear approached, his defense instantly shattered. Even his life-saving method was in danger. Clearly, this was a critical moment. Thus, he did not hesitate to take out the brocade pouch that Amo Ijen had given him. As the brocade pouch opened, a ray of light enveloped his body. In the next moment, his figure disappeared. The spear missed and then turned in front of him, heading towards Amo Ijen. During this time, Amo Ijen's 2 layers of protection were instantly shattered, and the power of the spear was greatly reduced. Since this was the case, Amo Ijen did not dare to be careless. His figure flashed and disappeared into thin air, leaving behind only a sentence. Lord MOD, I'll take my leave first. Having lost its target, the spear turned into a stream of light and returned to Zi Chen's side. At this moment, Zi Chen was still fighting, and the 9-star saint spirits had not all died. When the spear came close, Zi Chen held the spear in his hand and looked at MOD, saying, Now I'll give you a chance to escape. Humph. MOD's reply was a cold snort. Not running? That's even more to my liking. Zi Chen waved his sleeve, and the painting that was still in a stalemate suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light. A powerful devouring force appeared and directly swallowed the 4 demon weapons. Then the painting completely unfolded and enveloped the entire world. Or rather, it was a seal. Zi Chen continued. Do you know why I dared to come here even though I knew this was a scheme? It's because I have it on me. As long as I have it, I will never have to worry about my opponent being a demon. Chapter 43:10. What Mo gave Mo Yendanzwa was an escape method. It was a method to escape from this sealed world. After escaping from that world, Mo Yendanzwa's face was filled with lingering fear. Not to mention the matter of the battle achievements. His life was completely saved. As for the battle achievements, he didn't want them anymore. This was because MOD had obviously played him. Even if Zi Chen died, he might not be able to obtain any battle achievements and might even lose his life. The most obvious thing was that Zi Chen had tried to kill him, but MOD remained indifferent, as if he was deliberately waiting for him to die. Damn it, I definitely won't let you off. Mo Yendanzwa cursed. At this moment, another ray of light appeared beside him. It was Mo Xian. You came out too? Mo Yendanzwa said in surprise. If I don't come out, I'll die. This time, I'm the only one who came. At most, I'm just an errand boy. Mo Xian looked at Mo Yendanzwa and said, As for your escape method, it can be considered my last trump card. Mo Yendanzwa knew very well how precious that escape method was. At the very least, he didn't have it, so he immediately said, Don't worry, after we return this time, there will be plenty of benefits for you. Mo Xian laughed bitterly. Benefits? If Zi Chen doesn't die this time, I'll be finished. How big of a crime is it to run away from a battle? Mo Yendanzwa said, The one in charge this time is MOD. What does it have to do with you? Even if it's over, that guy will be the first to die. Thinking back to the scene that had happened in the previous world, Mo Yendanzwa's face had a hint of schadenfreude. This time, whether it's the family or the demon clan, they have helped him quite a bit. If he really fails, it's fine if he dies, but if he doesn't die, he will definitely have to pay a huge price. Even if no one pursues me, I will definitely not let him off. Don't worry, as long as I'm alive, no one will find trouble with you. As soon as the ancient devil refining jade appeared, it took root in this world. It was the natural nemesis of the demon clan, so it naturally liked the world of the demon clan. As the ancient devil refining jade took root in the ground, the magic power of this world began to fluctuate and flow away. What is that thing? MOD's expression changed. He did not recognize it, because this thing was already extinct in the demon clan. He could not see it at all. Ancient devil refining jade. Zi Chen explained. Not only did MOD's expression change, but the expressions of the other demons who had not died also changed. This was the nemesis of the demon race. Last time I used it to find and kill that guy with the demonic seal. Zi Chen pointed at the ancient jade of devil refinement. The person he was referring to was none other than Menes. After hearing this, MOD, who was still hesitating before, no longer had any misgivings. He immediately took out an item and was about to escape. As for these people, they were obviously abandoned by him. It was not the first time he had abandoned his companions. However, MOD soon discovered that the life-saving measure that he had deliberately left behind had actually lost its effect. One had to know that even Mo Xian had run away, and the other party had only used a normal escape technique. The one in his hand was connected to the laws of this world. As long as this world existed, then the technique could be activated. Why did it not work now? This world has already been sealed by the painting. Of course you can't escape. Zichen looked at MOD and said, "Moreover, the ancient devil refining jade has already changed the structure of this world, causing the laws of this world to become incomparably chaotic. It's impossible for you to leave." Have you forgotten that I gave you a chance to leave before, but you didn't take it? Asterisk, 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 asterisk at this moment. In the sky above this world, in a place where no one could see, Chung Ho and Han Nu silently looked at the world below. Under the perception of the naked eye, this world that the demon clan had spent a lot of effort to get to was crazily losing magic power. They had also seen Mo Yijin and Mo Yenden, who had escaped earlier, and allowed the two of them to escape. It seems that Lu Shanyao's guess was right. Chung Ho looked down and said, "The magic power of this world is disappearing. Only the real ancient devil refining jade can do this. Zi Chen dared to come to this place because of this item." The demon clan had always been invading, but no holy master had truly made a move, causing the demon clan to be completely careless. This time they had set up a trap for Zichen, so regardless of whether Zichen could escape or not, he would not die. This was because Chung Ho and the others had always been paying attention to Zichen. They could ignore this world and be disappointed in those large powers, but they would definitely not allow Zichen to die. Perhaps Zichen had also guessed this point, so he dared to barge into any trap. After this battle, the demon clan might be more cautious. Han Nu did not say anything. Chung Ho continued, "This can be considered as buying some time for the spirit realm." Han Nu still did not let down her guard as she watched the demon clan's world below. When they sensed that something was wrong, they came here in advance and watched as Zichen was lured in and then entered. The world below began to collapse, and the demon clan's demon power was greatly depleted. Not long after, it completely collapsed. Zichen stood there alone, and the demon clan members from before were all gone. As for the ancient devil refining jade, Zichen had already put it away. With the ancient devil refining jade, Zichen's battle against the demon clan could be said to be half the result with twice the effort. This time, the demon clan's plan was ruined once again. Apart from the two who had escaped earlier, everyone else had died. The demon clan's demon power of the 4 demon weapons in the painting had also been broken down and absorbed by the painting. Ever since he cultivated the purple soul, Zichen found that it was gradually difficult for him to control the painting with his soul power. It was also the same when he used the demon god's eye. It seemed that the purple soul was assimilating his former soul power. Perhaps in the end, Zichen would not be able to use the demon god's eye. As for the demon god's painting, it might become a decoration or a collection. Zichen quickly left. During this time, he glanced at the sky and cupped his fists in that direction. "Look, he knew that we were here," Chung Ho said. "This brat has never suffered a loss before. Let's go." Han Nu turned and left. Although the demon clan had focused most of their efforts on the passageway, there were still demon clan members at the demon suppressing gate. They still had to guard it, but they were not as focused as before. All of a sudden, Han Nu stopped and lowered her head to look down. In the void, a ray of light appeared. Following this, the light turned into a door, and a person walked out from the door. It was MOD. He's still alive? Chung Ho was slightly stunned. How could Zichen make such a mistake? Should we help him get rid of him? Han Nu looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. He knows that we are here, so how could he not see through the other party's little tricks? But why didn't Zichen kill him? If he returned, wouldn't Zichen's greatest secret be exposed? Chung Ho could not understand. Perhaps it's because of that Lu Zhen who changed her name. When Zichen had returned, he had told them in detail what had happened in the demon realm. Naturally, he had also told them about Lu Zhen. Chapter 43:11. When MOD walked out of the tunnel, his face was filled with joy. He had successfully deceived Ziqin, and he was still alive. Ancient devil refining jade. When he thought of that scene, MOD still felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he had obtained important information, so he could report it when he returned. However, when he thought about how everyone else had died, he felt a headache coming on. Those people were the main force. It was not easy for the clan to nurture them. He did not expect them to all die. Worried that Ziqin would turn back, MOD hurriedly left. He did not know that 2 holy venerables were watching him. When the 2 holy venerables returned to the demon-suppressing gate, they found Ziqin there. "Why are you here?" Chang Ho looked at Ziqin and asked, "Did you leave that guy behind on purpose?" Ziqin nodded as an answer. He then said, "I want to know where the demon race's camp is." "What do you want to do?" Chang Ho looked at Ziqin. The other holy venerables also looked at Ziqin curiously. As holy venerables, they were very sensitive to the world. Naturally, they knew where the demon race came from. Ziqin said, "I plan to place the ancient devil refining jade in the space they invaded." What? Even the holy venerables, who had seen countless things, had a change in expression when they heard Ziqin's words. If he really placed the ancient devil refining jade in that place, it would be a huge move. No demon race would be able to come over. By the same logic, no demon race would be able to return. It was equivalent to cutting off their path forward. At the same time, they also understood why Ziqin had come. Clearly, he wanted their help. That place was too dangerous. With the holy venerables accompanying them, they would be more confident. Before the holy venerables could express their opinions, Han Nu said, "I think this suggestion is not bad. It can be done once and for all." Since Han Nu had nodded, the others naturally did not have any objections. However, before that they needed to think it over. Ziqin sat down cross-legged and began to recover. The previous battle had consumed a lot of his energy, so he urgently needed to recover. As for the method, it was up to them to figure it out, because the purpose of him coming here was to have the saint accompany him, and the saint's purpose was to ensure his safety. Therefore, Ziqin was not in a hurry. The holy masters could think of a plan, and he also intended to give that guy called Mo Isian some time to return to the demon clan. She didn't know what method he used to obtain this Mo surname, but it should be. Ziqin decided not to think about it anymore. He was starting to admire that guy. Mo Isian and Mo Yen, so headed towards the devil clan. This time, they were once again the losers. However, along the way, the 2 of them chatted and were in a good mood. At the very least, his life was saved. "Don't worry, no matter if MOD dies this time or not, I won't let him have an easy time when we get back." Devil Yandan's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. "Daring to scheme against me, that's purely courting death. MOD has been arrogant for so many years. When have I ever been afraid of him?" Mo Yenshan's was not just casually saying that. He had the strength. Most importantly, this time, not only did MOD want to kill Ziqin, he also wanted to kill himself. Therefore, this matter was not over yet. After the 2 of them returned to the camp, they did not stay any longer and directly returned to the demon clan. This time, they had failed, so they needed to give an explanation. Not too long after, MOD came over with a murderous aura. After not seeing the 2 of them here, he also returned to the demon realm. Following that, it was a war of words. They went back and forth, and it lasted for a long time. The army of the demon clan was still being sent to the spirit realm. To the huge demon clan, these troops could not even be considered as the vanguard. This time, because there were no holy masters, the demon clan that came here were mainly here to train their troops. Therefore, even if they failed, there would still be demon clan coming in. It was the same for the god clan. After an endless stream of god clan troops came in through the passage, they started a war with the spirit realm. Perhaps it was because of the absence of Ziqin. The situation on the God Clan side was much better. However, their progress was also blocked. 3 God Clan members passed through the territory of the spirit realm and arrived at the battlefield of the Demon Clan. They walked towards the Demon Clan's camp. Along the way, they encountered some Demon Clan members. However, after the 3 of them released the aura of the God Clan, they no longer paid attention to the 3 of them. Gods and demons came to the spirit realm together, so they were naturally allies. My lord, the area of the spirit realm that has been invaded is almost negligible. Is it really appropriate for us to take such a risk and meet the Demon Clan? One of them asked in confusion. The God Clan youth who was walking at the front said, "It is precisely because of this that we have to cooperate with the Demon Clan and strive to achieve a glorious result before the troops come in." The God realm and the Demon realm were not the same. It was not easy to contact each other. This time, they had come to the spirit realm at the same time. They could use this place as a channel to contact each other and reach some kind of consensus. It's all that damned Ziqin's fault. If it weren't for him, we might have already occupied nearly half of the spirit realm. A Ziqin had appeared out of nowhere and changed the situation in the spirit realm. The spirit realm, which had originally been fleeing, began to counterattack. As a result, their advance was blocked. Chapter 43:12. These words were like a clap of thunder, exploding in the demon's mind. Why was this guy who had just ruined the assassination plan here? Ziqin walked forward, and the ripples behind him disappeared. He was alone. When the demon saw that Ziqin was alone, he didn't feel lucky, nor did he take the initiative to attack. Instead, he chose to retreat. Ziqin was too famous. Everyone knew of his terrifying combat strength. The other demons guarding the entrance also saw Ziqin, and their expressions changed. However, no one made a move. Everyone was retreating as Ziqin moved forward. After Ziqin arrived, he spread his soul power in all directions to sense the passage that the demons entered, as well as the number of demons here. An army of hundreds of thousands was here, densely packed. At this moment, the army was heading in this direction. They should have known that he was coming. The gods were discussing inside, but soon a noise came from outside. This made the demon leader's expression turn ugly. However, before he could go out to see the situation, he heard the noise outside. Ziqin of the Spirit Clan had come. The gods were shocked. Of course, they had heard of Ziqin's name, but they had never seen him before. The demon leader didn't care about his 3 allies and immediately walked out. Ziqin dared to come here. Wasn't he courting death? The demon leader walked out. The 3 gods also left the room out of curiosity. Then they released their soul remembrance and saw Ziqin. He had come, and he was alone. One of them exclaimed, "This guy, how dare he come here alone?" Another said, "This isn't courage, he's obviously courting death." The god leader didn't say anything. His expression gradually became serious. After coming to this world, he had heard too much about Ziqin's deeds. When had Ziqin ever done anything without using his brain? Now that Ziqin had come here alone, it was obvious that he was courting death. Was he brainless? Obviously not. Let's just watch here. "Don't go forward," said the god leader. The 3 of them didn't try to get closer because Ziqin's side couldn't accommodate too many people. The entire void was surrounded by the devil race, leaving Ziqin with only a radius of 1,000 feet. However, Ziqin was still moving forward, so everyone was retreating. Both sides maintained the same distance. "Ziqin, how dare you?" A cold voice sounded. The crowd parted like water, and the leader of the demon race walked in. It was a 9-star demon race, Holy Spirit. It seemed that everything was as he had guessed. The demon race's passageway was not stable. Even half-step holy venerates could not reach this place. Zi Qin glanced at the demon leader and said, "What? Can I come here to take a look? This is the territory of the spirit race. I can go wherever I want." The leader of the demon race said indifferently, "So you're saying that you're purely seeking death?" Killing intent surged in the surroundings. Everyone looked at Zi Qian with cold eyes. Zi Qin said, "Don't be so nervous. I'm just here to take a look. I'll also take a look at the passageway you came in and see if it's stable or not." Everyone's expressions changed. Zi Qian was clearly here for the passageway. The leader of the demon race glanced to the side. Many of the scouts were shaking their heads, indicating that they hadn't discovered anything. Zi Qin had come alone. "You're alone." The leader of the demon race looked at Zi Qin. "That's right. I'm just here to take a look." "Why? Am I not welcome?" Zi Qin asked. The leader of the demon race retreated and said coldly, "Zi Qin, I don't care what tricks you're playing today. Since you're here, don't think of leaving alive." With that, the leader of the demon race gave the order to retreat. Suddenly, countless ripples appeared in the sky. Then, a formation appeared. The demon race had set up their base here. Naturally, they had placed many backup plans. Don't you think it's a little too late to set up a formation now? A smile appeared on Zi Chen's face as he immediately moved forward. He was only a few hundred feet away from the Devil Clan, and he closed in on them in an instant. He didn't make a move. Instead, he moved with the demon race. Once the killing formation fell, it would inevitably implicate the demon race. The leader of the demon race, who had retreated far away, smiled mockingly. "Do you think you can avoid the formation like this? Aren't you a little too naive?" In the next moment, the bodies of the demon race lit up. The formation took shape. They were unaffected by the formation. Zi Qin, on the other hand, received special treatment. The leader of the demon race saw that Zi Qian was under the formation and didn't use any other means. He was slightly stunned. He couldn't help but have an illusion in his heart. Was this guy really here to die? Just as he decided to use the killing formation, he saw Zi Qin smile. His smile was full of mockery. The leader of the demon race suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. The void suddenly lit up. A ray of light fell from the sky and landed on the formation. The formation began to shake and became unstable. The leader of the demon race didn't have any chance to adjust. The second attack fell and directly destroyed the formation. Without the formation, the light on the demon race's bodies faded. Zi Qin continued to move forward. He was neither fast nor slow. "I already said that I'm only here to visit. Why do you have to do this? I'd be a fool to believe you. Formation, rise again." The demon race shouted angrily. The formation in the sky rose again. However, this time, in addition to the formation, there were several demon weapons. These demon weapons were able to fight against a holy venerate. The formation now was, of course, more terrifying. Obviously, the previous attack was made by a holy venerate. Therefore, the leader of the demon race had to use the power to fight against a holy venerate. However, Zi Chen's expression was still indifferent. He continued to move forward. The attacks in the sky continued to fall. This time there were several attacks. Not only did they fall on the formation, but they also fell on the demon weapons. The formation was destroyed. The demon weapons were shattered. This was the power of a holy venerate. The leader of the demon race's expression changed again. This was the first time a holy venerate of the spirit race attacked. He didn't expect it to be so powerful. Of course, if they knew that it was an ancient holy venerate who attacked, they wouldn't be so surprised. Why did Zi Qin dare to come here? It should be known that the hundreds of thousands of demon race soldiers could tear him apart if they attacked him one by one. He was relying on the ancient holy venerate. Zi Qin continued to move forward. He wasn't fast. All the demon race's backup plans were destroyed by the holy venerate in the dark. The three divine race people looked at Zi Chen's unhurried manner. It was as if he was really just here to look at the passageway. Finally, Chen stopped when he was about 10 miles away from the passageway. During this time, many of the demon race's backup plans were destroyed. He looked at the leader of the demon race and said, "Thank you for accompanying me for so long. In order to express my gratitude, I think I should give you guys something." Chen didn't keep them in suspense. He also didn't make them wait for a long time. He took out the item that he had prepared long ago. Chapter 40, 3:13. As soon as the ancient jade of devil refinement appeared, it took root in the void. Then, countless rays of light appeared and spread out like tentacles. The nearby demons were entangled by the tentacles. Their strength began to drain as they were devoured. Those demons that were not swept by the tentacles also felt their strength begin to drain rapidly. "What's going on?" The leader of the demons was shocked and exclaimed. The other demons retreated, but they still could not stop the loss of their strength. Chen silently watched the demons fall into chaos. In fact, this was only a part of it. There was another part, or more tentacles, that was heading toward the passage in the distance. To stabilize the passage, a large amount of demonic energy was needed, and the ancient jade of devil refinement needed that demonic energy. Some demons noticed this scene and started to attack the tentacles. However, it was useless. Their attacks fell on the tentacles. Not only did they not cause any damage to the tentacles, they instead became nourishment for the tentacles, making them grow stronger. Where did the nemesis come from? That was how it came to be. After devouring so many demons and corpses, the ancient jade of devil refinement was no longer what it used to be. The first batch of demons that were swept and were in danger. What is this? How can it be so terrifying? When the three members of the god race saw this scene from afar, their expressions changed. However, until now, the three of them had yet to feel any discomfort. It's the ancient jade of devil refinement, the legendary ancient jade of devil refinement. Some demons exclaimed as they thought of something that did not exist in the legends. The ancient jade of devil refinement was like the demon god. It was a legend that everyone knew, but no one believed that it really existed until the demon god's relic appeared 2,000 years ago. This time, the ancient jade of devil refinement was clearly presented in front of everyone. As soon as these words came out, it triggered the memories of all the demons. For a moment, they fled even faster. I see. The three members of the god clan suddenly understood why they were not affected by the power of the black flame. The demons were in chaos and might even be wiped out. The premise was that no holy master attacked from a distance. The abnormal change here attracted the attention of the other side of the passage. For a moment, a powerful attack surged toward this side. It was the Holy Master attacking from a distance. The passageway was no longer stable, and it was unknown what kind of damage it had caused. Fortunately, this powerful attack had successfulully passed through. However, at this moment, another Holy Sovereign's power fell from the sky and blocked this demon's power. When Chen arrived, he did nothing but take out the ancient devil refining jade. After that, he just stood there and watched as the demons fell into chaos. He watched as the hundreds of thousands of soldiers couldn't do anything to him. He was just here to watch the show. The demon Saint Venerate from another world sent out only one attack, and the passage became even more unstable. The demon energy in the passage was quickly devoured. If this continued, the passageway would definitely close. When the three Protoss saw this, one of them said, "Should we help them?" Only they could approach the ancient devil refining jade. However, Chen was standing under the tree. This was a huge problem. The leader of the divine race looked around. If he helped them now, it would be a great favor to the demon race. What else could they not agree on? Besides, they didn't need to kill Chen. They just needed to destroy the ancient fiend refining jade. Attack. Time was tight. Without much time to think, the leader of the divine race, gave the order. The three of them took out 3 divine weapons at the same time and attacked from afar. During this time, the leader of the divine race carefully looked at the sky, worried that the spirit race's holy sovereign would attack. But no, even when the attacks were close to the ancient fiend refining jade, the spirit race's holy sovereign didn't attack. Instead, Zichen attacked. A simple spear sent the 3 weapons flying. Go. At this point, the leader of the divine race was relieved. After catching the weapons that flew back, he flew forward. The other 2 followed closely behind him. Zichen stood under the tree and looked at the 3 approaching quickly. He said indifferently, "Why do you want to die?" He let go of the spear in his hand. The spear trembled in the air. Zichen formed a seal with one hand, and the spear pierced through the air. It was still a sword technique, the Thunder Sword. Like a rainbow, it instantly approached one of the divine race members. Seeing this sword, the divine race member's expression changed drastically. He immediately controlled his defense to block it, but it was useless. The extraordinary divine weapon shattered. The spear broke through the defense like a sword and pierced the demon's chest. Puff! It completely pierced through. It turned around and flew back. When the leader of the divine race saw this, a trace of regret flashed in his eyes. He no longer held back and took out a divine lamp. The divine lamp shone, and a murderous aura surged out. The aura of an honorable surged. Obviously, it was an honorable weapon. At this time, Zichen also unfolded the scroll and blocked in front of the honorable weapon. Perhaps there was a change in Zichen's soul power attribute that made him unable to control the scroll skillfully. Or perhaps the honorable weapon opposite him was too powerful. The scroll didn't have the absolute upper hand when the 2 sides collided. Zichen was a little surprised. This was the first time he had seen this. But when he thought about it, the other party was from the divine race and not the demon race. The aura of a demon god might be reduced to a divine race member, so he didn't hesitate. He held the spear and the ancient shield in his hands and charged forward. 1 against 2 powerful auras kept surging in the air. The combat strength of the leader of the divine race was beyond Zichen's imagination, and the number of good things he had on him was also far beyond his expectations. In the short exchange, Zichen had 3 sure-kill opportunities, but the other party dodged them all and used various methods to escape. And the divine race member took advantage of the opportunity when he was sent flying to move toward the ancient devil refinement jade. Zichen made a hand sign again, and the spear left his hand and charged toward the other party. After several collisions, the divine race member was successfully killed. However, when the spear returned to Zichen's hand, Zichen saw that there were cracks on the body of the spear. Last time, when MOD set up a trap, Zichen lost 2 powerful weapons. Although the spear and the ancient shield weren't broken, they were damaged. He didn't expect that this battle with the divine race would cause cracks to appear on this extremely extraordinary weapon. It was on the verge of breaking. It would probably take quite a few years for him to fully recover from such an injury. Buzz! The sound of energy vibrating came from the front. After losing all the demonic power in the demon race's passage, it began to heal. The ancient devil refinement jade devoured all the power in the passage. The demon race's passage closed again, and the demons lost the chance to return to their homeland. Similarly, the demons couldn't continue to send reinforcements. Seeing this, the leader of the divine race decided to retreat. "Can you leave?" Chapter 40, 3:14. All the demons stood in the distance. The camp had long been torn apart. Zichen had also left. The ancient jade of devil refinement was still rooted there, devouring the remaining demonic energy around it. The demons could only watch from afar, not daring to come forward. The 3 gods of unknown origins had been killed by Zichen, and Chen had taken the spoils of war. The demons were at a loss and helpless because they couldn't go back. They had no communication with the demons. Like water without roots, they would slowly evaporate and disappear from the spirit realm. Unless they could hold on until the demons invaded a second time and leave through that passage. Chen returned to his team, and then on the same day he spread the news of the battle with the demons. The demons' passage had been destroyed, and there would be no more reinforcements. If they didn't seize the time to kill the demons and gain contribution points, once all the demons were killed in the future, they wouldn't be able to gain anything. For a time, the spirits of the spirit realm were motivated again. More people joined in, forming a demon-hunting army. The news quickly spread to the God Clan because their leader had suddenly disappeared. According to the information from the God Clan, he had been killed. Thinking back to what happened in the demon's passage, they had already guessed the reason. It should be said that it was a coincidence. Their leader, who had gone to discuss matters with the demons, was killed by Chen. The demons had lost their reinforcements, and with the spirit realm's current fighting spirit, they would soon be nibbled away. Once the demons were gone, what would happen to the gods? At this moment, the divines began to feel worried, especially after learning about the collapse of the demon race's passageway. The ancient jade of devil refinement was still rooted in the void. During this time, no demons dared to approach it. The destruction of the demon's passage caused a great shock in the demons. All the forces were discussing and crusading against it. The target of the crusade was MOD. Everyone was too lazy to pursue the matter of his failure to plot against Chen. What they blamed was that MOD did not report the important information about the ancient devil refining jade in the first place. Otherwise, the demon race would not have been so hasty. They were caught off guard by Chen and indirectly lost over 1 million demon race troops. Now that the passageway could not be opened, the chances of those devils surviving in the spirit realm were extremely low. This was something that MOD did not expect. According to his original plan, he would first charge MOE with the crime of escaping from battle, and at the same time, use the ancient devil refining jade as the most important piece of information to minimize his crime. However, Chen's speed was too fast. Before he could report the matter, the tunnel had been destroyed. His late report had delayed the important matter. Not only did it not help him get off the hook, but it also became a huge crime for everyone. As for Mo Isian and Mo Yendanzwa, the demon clan no longer pursued the matter, or perhaps they no longer had the time to pursue the matter. Chen returned to the Sky Martial Continent. The battle in the spirit realm was still ongoing, but he, the leader, was no longer leading the team. After returning to the Tianwu world, Chen still focused on cultivation. It was just that during this period of time, he needed to refine his weapon. In the last battle, whether it was the spear or the ancient shield, the damage was not small. However, if he wanted to completely repair it, it would take an extremely long time. Thus, Chen went to find the hall spirit, Su, to see if she had any ideas. However, the answer he received was that it would be extremely difficult to repair it, and it would take too long. Only then did Chen remember that the Saint Chen from back then, other than leaving behind his strength, he also left behind some weapons. As for the spear and shield that he had taken from the Saint Spirit realm, they had become souvenirs and were left in the Sky Martial Continent. As for Chen himself, he went to look for a weapon that he could use. Arriving at the Chen Hall, the hall spirit, Su opened up a space. Looking at the few weapons inside, Chen was slightly startled and said, "Why are there so few?" The last time he came here to get the purple soul, he saw a lot of weapons. There was even a set of extremely eye-catching battle armor, and its grade was very high. Even if Chen did not deliberately sense it, he knew that the battle armor should be at the honored rank. But this time, not only was the honored rank battle armor gone, the other weapons were also gone. The hall spirit, Su, did not respond, so Chen asked again, "What's going on?" It wasn't like this last time. The hall spirit, Su's voice finally sounded lazily, With my authority, I can only open that place once. Now it can't be opened anymore. What? You don't like the weapons here. How could Zichen not like them? But if there really was an honored rank weapon, then that would be extremely good. After all, he had already seen the power of an honored rank weapon, and he had even used it before. Unfortunately, as his soul power had changed, the power of the picture scroll had gradually decreased. That made Zichen feel very regretful, but if there was something else to make up for it, it would be extremely good. The hall spirit, Su continued. With your current realm and strength, these weapons are completely enough for you. You don't have the power of a holy sovereign, so even if you were given a holy sovereign weapon, you wouldn't be able to use its true power. Furthermore, that sword is very suitable for you right now. Zichen looked in a certain direction and saw a long sword. The sword's body was overflowing with lightning, and it was definitely not an ordinary item. The instant he saw that lightning sword, Zichen felt as if his lightning sword art had some sort of reaction. The hall spirit, Su continued. This was left behind by an expert from the lightning clan. I feel that it has the same aura as the sword art you've been cultivating recently. Zichen walked forward and picked up the lightning sword. A familiar feeling suddenly welled up in his heart. It seemed that many years ago he had done such a thing and used this sword. He used a little bit of power, and a fierce aura surged on the sword's body. Countless lightning flashed with a violent aura. Zichen nodded. This was not an honored rank weapon, but he was still very satisfied. It was indeed very suitable for him to use with the lightning sword that he had just comprehended. Moreover, Zichen found that it seemed that he didn't need to condense it for the sword to recognize him as its master. This is it. Zichen put away the long sword and left the Zichen palace. Next, he had more important things to do. The ancient devil refining jade was a legendary existence in the demon clan, and no one in the spiritual realm knew about it. However, this was all in the past. Now that Zichen had used the ancient devil refining jade to seal the demon clan's retreat, legends about the ancient devil refining jade were everywhere in the spiritual realm. After all, how amazing was it for a tree to be able to stop the demon clan's advance? At the same time, there were some curious voices. Chapter 43:15. The ancient devil refining jade was rooted in the air, giving off a faint light. It was very quiet. It looked like a vigorous little tree, and there was nothing strange about it. However, it was this small tree that had closed the passage between the spirit world and the demon world, leaving the demon race army with no home to return to. The demon chi that had filled the area had long disappeared. There was no longer any demon chi in the area. Hence, the ancient devil refining jade was very quiet. The demon race still occupied this place. However, they did not dare to approach this place. The spirit race did not dare to come either. Otherwise, many people would have come to visit this place. The ancient devil refining jade was very safe here. The space was silent. It was deathly still. It was impossible to sense the flow of time. An illusory figure moved through the space. No one could see him. He passed through the demon race's blockade and arrived at the space where the ancient devil refining jade was. He looked at the jade from afar. The ancient devil refining jade gave off a faint light. It was very quiet. It did not look as scary as the legends said. He observed from afar for a while. Then he carefully moved forward. However, he still did not get close. Not long after, he left. The next day, he appeared again. This time, he was slightly closer. He observed the ancient devil refining jade there. Not long after, he left. Every day, he secretly observed the ancient devil refining jade. He tried to get closer time and time again. He got closer every day. Finally, on the 10th day, he encountered an obstruction. It was an insignificant ripple. He used 2 days to remove it. No one noticed. Everything was silent. Then there was another obstruction. It was a layer of restriction. It was slightly more difficult. He used 5 days to break it. After breaking through 2 restrictions, he finally got close to the ancient devil refining jade. He was less than 300 meters away. This distance was nothing to a half-step holy venerate. Furthermore, after confirming that there was no obstruction in front of him, he decisively made his move. His previous cautiousness and caution had turned into certainty and decisiveness. A powerful attack headed straight for the ancient jade of fiend refinement. It was not to take it, but to destroy it. In almost the blink of an eye, the ancient devil refining jade would be reduced to dust. The blink of an eye was too fast. However, the blink of an eye was enough for something to happen. An unfolded scroll unfurled and blocked the attack. When the attack entered the scroll, it only caused a few ripples before disappearing. Demon God painting. When the half-step holy venerates saw this scene, their expressions changed. A figure of light appeared in front of the scroll. It was Zichen. He looked at the half-step holy venerate in front of him and said, "I thought you would only attack tomorrow. I didn't expect you to be so impatient. It seems like you still need to improve your patience." The half-step sacred venerable asked, "You have been here the entire time?" Zichen nodded. "That's right. I've been watching you, watching your every move." "Impossible. How could you see through my concealment technique?" The half-step holy venerate was in disbelief. Zichen said confidently, "There is nothing I can't see through." Since they were already discovered, there was no need for the half-step holy venerate to say anything more. Before a holy venerate arrived, they just needed to kill Zichen and destroy the ancient demon refining jade. The half-step holy venerate charged at Zichen. Zichen unfurled the scroll. Although the scroll was no longer of much help to him and could not pressure him, it could still ensure that he was undefeatable. The scroll unfurled and enveloped the two. The half-step holy venerate raised his head and looked at the sky above the scroll. He said, "I heard that your scroll has a magic ability that can make one's cultivation drop. Why don't you show it to me?" Zichen said, "I don't need to use such a method to deal with you." The half-step holy venerate smiled coldly and said, "It looks like the rumors are correct. As time passes, you indeed cannot control the scroll." The half-step holy venerate already saw the problem. He no longer used the things he prepared to resist the scroll. The half-step holy venerate looked at Zichen and said indifferently, "Since you no longer have any means to pressure me, I'll show you the strength of a half-step holy venerate today." The half-step holy venerate raised his hand, and a light flowed on his palm. A half-step holy venerate already had holy venerate energy. Although it was not as pure, it was still much stronger than Holy Spirit energy. The half-step holy venerate swung his palm downwards like a blade. A dazzling light appeared, carrying a strong holy venerate energy aura as it headed straight for Zichen. This was the first time Zichen met a spirit race half-step holy venerate. Facing this move, he chose to defend. A light lit up in front of Shaoqin, turning into a shield. With a boom, Zichen's body flew backward as the guardian shield shattered into pieces. 300 meters away, Zichen steadied himself. His robes were slightly wrinkled, and blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. After clearly sensing the half-step holy venerate's strength and even blocking one move, Zichen gained a deep understanding of the half-step holy venerate. He gave his evaluation, "It is only SOO." In the end, the half-step holy venerate's strength was not the true holy venerate's strength. It was only of a higher level than the Holy Spirit's. However, Zichen was at the peak of the Holy Spirit's in terms of strength and physical body. He was no weaker than a half-step holy venerate's strength. Actually, they were evenly matched. "You are seeking death." The half-step holy venerate pressed forward again. Boundless murderous intent filled his eyes as he approached Zichen. Then he punched, and holy venerate energy wrapped around his fist. Zichen also punched back, A dazzling electric light released a strong aura. Loud rumbles rang out again, and the two moved back. Following that, it was like two beams of light met. They flew back and clashed again. The half-step Holy Venerate's greatest advantage was his unique Holy Venerate energy. However, he could not completely suppress Zichen's. As the half-step Holy Venerate continuously attacked, Zichen's aura grew stronger. How could the spiritual energy of the world be so strong? The half-step Holy Venerate felt startled. He gradually understood why there was no Holy Venerate guarding this place. This was because there was no need for one. Zichen alone could deal with everything. After figuring this out, the half-step Holy Venerate decided to use his strongest killing move. Holy Venerate energy gathered in front of him and turned into a ferocious black tiger. The ferocious tiger reared its head and roared, sending out countless ripples. A storm appeared out of nowhere, wreaking havoc in the air. This was his most powerful move. If he still could not kill Zichen, he would retreat. The ferocious tiger moved forward. Zichen defended again. This time, he flew out nearly 1,000 feet. When he stabilized his body, he coughed up blood again. It seemed that he was injured. However, that was all. He glanced at the ancient jade of devil refinement not far away. Today, his goal was not to kill Zichen. His figure flashed. Using some unknown method, he actually escaped the control of the scroll and arrived outside the scroll, in front of the ancient jade of devil refinement. With one strike, the ancient jade of devil refinement would be shattered. Then, the demon race would be eliminated forever. At this moment, a ray of light suddenly lit up. It flashed with resplendent electric light and appeared in the half-step Holy Venerate's vision. It was a ray of sword light, a sword of lightning. It broke through the air and arrived in the blink of an eye. Chapter 43:16. The electric light in front of the half-step Holy Venerate scattered. He lowered his head and looked at his chest. A cold metallic light flickered under his tattered robes. That was the armor he wore under his robes. Back then, he had spent a lot of effort to refine it. It was of very high quality. Unexpectedly, it could not even block one of Zichen's sword strikes. The continuous loss of life made the half-step Holy Venerate feel the long-awaited sensation of death. The half-step Holy Venerate had long forgotten this feeling. No one had been able to threaten his life for many years, back when he was very weak. This feeling made the half-step Holy Venerate very uncomfortable, even fearful. The half-step Holy Venerate glanced at the ancient devil refining jade before decisively leaving. If he did not leave, he would die. Zichen walked out of the painting. As he watched the half-step Holy Venerate turn into a beam of light and leave, he asked, "Why are you doing this?" The existence of the ancient devil refining jade did indeed threaten the demon race. However, the demonic energy in this place had already disappeared, and the barrier had returned to normal. Be it Shaoqin or the ancient devil refining jade, they would not remain here for long. The demon race could not possibly open a passageway out of nowhere. If they had the ability, they would have entered long ago. That half-step Holy Venerate would not have to expose his identity. He might even implicate his clan. The spiritual realm's people had always maintained a zero-tolerance attitude toward the demon race. For example, the Chui clan, which disappeared several thousand years ago, was the best example. No faction at that time objected. No moral saint stood out to say that not everyone deserved to die. Some did not deserve to die. As for what happened next, it was not something Zichen should worry about. Naturally, someone would follow. If a half-step Holy Venerate wanted to leave, Shaoqin could not stop him. The light in the painting faded and returned to Zichen's side. Zichen's side. If the other party's soul energy had not evolved toward purple with the support of the demonic god painting, it would have been very difficult for him to leave. Now it was just the painting. After a while, he would not be able to use the demonic god eye. At that time, Zi-Chun would be considered a true spirit race individual. Now he had a deeper understanding of his own strength. He was not a half-step holy venerate, but was stronger than one. After looking around, Zi-Chun decided to stay and wait. Just like fishing, the willing ones would take the bait. Perhaps there would always be those who did not believe in evil. The god race had strengthened their defenses at the passage, dispatching one powerhouse after another. No one knew if the ancient jade of god refining really existed in this world, but in order to prevent the demons from happening again, they had to be prepared in advance. Most importantly, they were worried that Zi-Chun would come and kill them. The situation on the deity race's side was the same as the demon race's side. Holy masters could not come, and even half-step holy masters could not come. Zi-Chun waited in the dark for another month. During this time, he didn't find anyone suspicious. It seemed that he couldn't wait any longer. He took the ancient fiend refining jade and used the spirit core to reach the area occupied by the Protoss. The god race was still very active, but the spirit race had already formed a sizable army. Both sides had suffered heavy casualties. On a certain battlefield, Zi-Chun suddenly appeared, swooped down, and effortlessly took the life of a divine race leader. Seeing Zi-Chun's sudden appearance, the god race panicked. On the other hand, the spirit race's morale soared and they burst into cheers. Unsurprisingly, the god race suffered a crushing defeat in this battle. It could be considered their greatest loss. Those high-level existences were all slaughtered by Zi-Chun. Since the start of the war, the god race had never suffered such heavy losses. For a moment, their morale was at an all-time low. Some people even suggested leaving at this time. However, this was obviously impossible. Zi-Chun was only one person, and the god race army exceeded 1 million. How could they leave just because of Zi-Chun? After the battle, the leader of the spirit race wanted to find Zi-Chun to thank him, but he found that Zi-Chun had already disappeared. At this time, Zi-Chun was standing in the void, and Cheng-Ho was beside him. He said, unhappily, Zi-Chun, no matter what, I, Cheng-Ho, am an ancient holy master. Can't you show me some respect? I'm your hired thug. Do you think you can beat up whoever you want? The reason Cheng-Ho was dissatisfied was because of Zi-Chun's previous suggestion. He wanted him to go to the god race's camp and destroy the passage between the two worlds, so that the god race would become homeless. Zi-Chun said calmly, at this time of crisis, as a holy master of the spirit race, don't you feel guilty saying these words? Cheng-Ho said indifferently, of course I don't feel guilty. I don't owe this world anything. Zi-Chun said, that's too boring. You have nothing to do. Accompanying me won't take up too much of your time. Cheng-Ho said, is that a trip? It's a trip to risk your life, okay? Even if it's a trip to risk my life, you don't have to risk your life. Moreover, don't you think that this is a great opportunity for us to make a move? Zi-Chun said, right now, the holy masters of the god realm and the demon realm have not come. Once they come, we won't have such an opportunity. Perhaps this is our only chance to completely defeat them. When the next disaster comes, how can we have such a great chance of victory? Zi-Chun looked down at the people who were still cleaning up the battlefield. He said, they used us to train their soldiers, so we won't let any of them go back. It's good that these people die. When the next war erupts, our people will all be elites left behind after the war. Cheng-Ho looked at Zi-Chun and suddenly asked, do you think you can change the current situation? Zi-Chun said, perhaps we can change it, but if we can do something within our power to make this world a better place, why wouldn't we do it? Cheng-Ho nodded and did not say anything more. His silence was a tacit agreement. Zi-Chun said again, my picture scroll can't be used anymore, so this trip will be very dangerous. I'm afraid you can't take care of it alone. Please call a few more helpers. Zi-Chun wanted to help the spiritual realm do more things, but he was not willing to lose his life because of this. At least, he was not willing to do so now. If one went, two would naturally go. It was the same for 3 or 4. Chin arrived outside the divine race's camp. This time he suddenly appeared and he was still alone. News had just come from the front line that Chin had suddenly killed his way in, causing a lot of casualties on their side. They did not expect that Chan would come here in the next moment. This made the divine race in the camp very nervous. This was because Chen had once closed the passage to the demon realm by himself. Was he going to repeat the same trick now? Or did Chen really have the ancient god, refining jade? Kill, don't let him in. A cold voice sounded from the depths of the camp. The divine race who had been retreating stopped one by one. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.